Yeah, we got the energy.
Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey, here we are.
It's a Manic Monday.
Not over. The world is not over.
No, not at all.
No.
Browns are 2-2. They're a game out of first place.
They are.
It could be worse. And I'm looking at you. Wow.
It could be worse, yeah.
Wow.
It is what it is.
It is. We're going to start with our shotgun reaction.
Yeah.
What our 2 minutes about this football game are all about. And G, do you want to start?
Go ahead.
Sure, why not? You know, as you can see, I'm not drinking Kool-Aid. I got a little water today, a little water. Don't mean the Kool-Aid gonna stop. You know, you come back and get you a couple more.
Just on pause.
Just no, we never on pause at bushlinebeauty.com/barbershop. If you want to go ahead, we're never paused there, 24 hours a day. See what I did? That boy cold. No, but you know what? It's crazy. Today, this conversation is going to be about DTR versus Kevin Stefanski. I think if you guys sit and hang out with us and watch a little bit, don't get too frustrated. But we are going to bring up some things for you guys to think about. It's a quarter of the season over, and I know we got a 17th game, but there's some things that are looking like a bit of a pattern. The Browns are 500. They could come out and be great after the bye week. They could come out and slide a little bit. I think there's some things that they need to be mulling over in the office for the next 2 weeks, especially when it comes to the offense.
All right.
Rapid fire, by the way, before I get my Browns take. Rest in peace, Tim Wakefield, who passed away from
stunning news.
Wow.
Brain
57
cancer.
years old.
Awful job by Kurt Schilling announcing that he had cancer. You didn't hear about this?
No.
Kurt Schilling announced that Tim Wakefield had cancer a couple days ago. Tim Wakefield did not want that out there.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
So, awful move.
Did he know that? Well, he couldn't have known that. He wouldn't have violated his trust.
He, in fact, said, I'm not sure he wants this out there, but I'm going to say it anyway.
What a douche.
Number two, this has nothing to do with what you think of him as a president, but happy 99th birthday to Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Nobody could debate that he's a great human being.
Do you know that most Americans living today were born after he left office?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a mind blow.
I thought he was going to, it looked like he was on his deathbed 6 months ago.
6 months ago, his grandson came out and said, it's not looking good.
Yeah. And he turned 99 yesterday. The guy, I think he's still building houses for poor people. The guy's an amazing person.
Did you slide RBG in there? Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. When was this? Was this last week or this week?
No, she's
been dead like 3 years.
3 years ago.
No. I'm sorry. Dianne Feinstein.
I can see how you would
it's the same. Like, right? They're the same. Right? They are completely
another old Jewish woman.
Dianne
Feinstein passed away yesterday.
Yes, sir.
All right, now to the Browns. Okay, it's easy to panic and flip out and go bananas, but I got to be the voice of reason. Things were bad yesterday. There's no doubt about it. The defense was not great, wasn't bad, and it's pretty hard to play great defense when you have no chance in your offense. Think about this. The Browns' defense played very well early, right? Early, first couple of drives. And they quickly realized, wow, we have no shot on offense. Our quarterback cannot play right now. And it's hard to keep up that level of play and just be perfect when you're coming back on the field every 3 plays. There's plenty of criticism to go around. Stefanski deserves some, no doubt. We can't pin it all on him. Not every time they lose is it play calling. Although I think, and I'm usually anti-complaining about play calling, there is some criticism on that vein that I think is fair. And DTR was terrible, but he's a 5th-round rookie, and people should have maybe expected that. Nobody was saying, listen, you could rip the Browns organization all you want, guys, but nobody was saying the Browns should have a veteran quarterback until this game happened. Everybody was excited to see DTR. He fell on his face. Don't write the guy's career off based on one game. That's not fair either. But he was clearly not ready to play, and maybe the Browns should have considered P.J. Walker, who has played some games in this league. Again, I don't think he's any kind of long-term answer either. And I think we also saw that Deshaun Watson's got to play at a high level for the Browns to be successful. And you could say that pretty much about every team in the NFL.
And all their starting quarterbacks, yeah.
Yes.
Big takeaway, the Browns better sign 3 more quarterbacks because they're going to need them. This offensive line is going to get guys hurt all year. We've got 2 mobile quarterbacks. DTR took a beating yesterday. He took.
Well, you got 3 mobiles.
An absolute.
Walker's mobile too.
Well, yeah. He's not the answer. We know that. DTR took a beat. He had no chance. Not only was it a difficult grading curve because it was his first NFL start, it was his first NFL start with a line that looks like Swiss cheese. They're going to get guys hurt. I wouldn't be able to safely say, yeah, we can count on Deshaun Watson when he comes back. He's going to get hit. There are pinatas back there. And both those guys are mobile, and they took shots. Deshaun's taken shots this year. Every other clip, after the ball fell incomplete, the camera took a shot of DTR pulling grass out of his face mask. I mean, he just got absolutely destroyed. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know how you fix this. I think that this was a definite come back to earth game. The offense doesn't have any players. They really don't. Who on this team is making the Pro Bowl? Who on this team is a difference maker offensively? Amari Cooper's a nice piece.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb ain't walking through that door.
Yeah.
So the reality of it is we are an offensively challenged football team. It's like whack-a-mole with the Browns. Need a kicker? Boom, get a kicker. Need a defense? Boom, get a defense. Now you need an offense. Can never have all 3 at once. And that's what it takes to be a really, really good team. And I think we're staring 2 and 3 in the face. Anybody that thinks we're going to beat San Francisco when they come in here 2 weeks from now, they could lay an egg. It's possible they could win this game. But now you're looking at 2 and 3 and a very uncertain future beyond that. So disappointing. But if I'm passing blame out, which is what we're going to do here today, the bulk of my blame is going on the offensive line.
I'll say, I love your intro. I was on the post-game show with Mikey, and I said, have we seen this offensive line get old right in front of our face? Because we already knew what sorry, I'm not going to say his name. It's bless his soul out there. Earl was like, we don't want to look like we're being bullies. You know what it is at left tackle.
Yep.
But Wyatt Teller has played horrible. It's pass blocking. Ethan Poaches has not played like he did last year. He's now hurt.
Joe Bitonio,
which we've never
mentioned in a
never
negative
mentioned, is not playing very well either. And the best guy statistically wise and from giving up pressure is DeJuan Jones, and he's a rookie. And that is not something that we can really deal with at this point, because you said another thing. I'm like, dang, Jay out here cooking this morning. Where's your difference makers? Where's the guys that people pay attention to? We got Amari Cooper, shout out to him. He's one of the best we got. But Elijah Moore.
Wow. Wow.
I mean.
A minus 20 rush?
I mean, this guy is not fast. He's not that big. It's not like he's a go up and contested catch guy. I'm looking at the situation like, okay, well, what is he? Scrap all the reverses and stuff. Get that out of here.
That's the reason the Jets gave up on him.
Bull say he's just a guy. He is. He's a small receiver. That's it.
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, listen, I think you guys are overreacting somewhat. I mean, it's a little prisoner of the moment here. I think.
Do they have stars on offense that I'm missing?
No, but we knew they didn't have stars on offense when Nick Chubb got hurt. You don't have to have stars on offense. You don't have to have a million stars on offense. The Chiefs only have one star on offense in terms of skill positions.
At the critical position.
No, well, I'm not talking about quarterback.
Well, so they have two.
Well, then the Browns do have, was Watson should be. I mean, I'm expecting him to be the rest of the year.
Well, he's not yet, but he should be.
Well, he has been in the past. In the majority of his career, he has been.
Yes.
So I'm going to assume that. If he's not a star, then it's pointless anyway. Browns are not going to win any games.
That's my point.
So they're not going to be that good. But
yeah, I included him when I said they don't have any Pro Bowlers on this offense.
Yes, that's fair. But in terms of the offensive line, like I haven't seen how they're stacking up. You know, we watch our offensive line and guys get hit. You watch every other game, this guy's getting hit all the time too.
All the time.
You see it a lot. Like I don't know where
the Browns. But not as much.
I don't think that's true.
Don't you think DT? How many times was he knocked down?
Jay, a lot of that's him. He was holding the ball way too long.
It is what it is.
But
he's the guy back there.
The offensive line can't hold up forever.
I don't think that. I don't know what his average time per release was, but I don't remember him standing back there for an eternity. He didn't have an eternity.
But you think the Browns quarterbacks are getting hit more than any other quarterback?
I mean, I don't know. No, I did not say that.
But I just numbers on that are not out yet, but I will have those for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
As far as yesterday's game goes,
I know overall, like the guards and center have played well. They maybe not as like Joe Bitonio is not playing as well as he has in the past, but all three of those guys are playing well enough. It's the tackles and especially left tackle. That's a problem.
I don't think Wyatt Taylor's playing well. The numbers bear out. The film
penalties in big spots. And here's the thing, like so many people, and this drives me nuts. So many people are going to wait to see the PFF grades. No. Here's what the PFF grading scale has done. It's lessened the sharpness of our eyes.
No, it's not, Jay.
Because all of a sudden we'll see a number and say, oh, well, I guess he wasn't that bad. I just watch football. That's what I do.
But Jay,
I don't have a calculator with it.
Are you watching every single lineman on every play?
I'm watching a lot of football. Yes, I'm watching a lot. Am I watching? Nobody's watching every single play.
That's what I'm saying.
However, as I juxtapose what the Browns' offensive line is doing against the other teams that I watch, which on any given Sunday I probably see 14 teams, I'm watching a lot of football. What I'm seeing is, and I'm not even ranking them. I don't care what the other teams are doing. I care what my team is doing. And my eyes tell me they're going to get this dude killed.
I just think the good quarterbacks can overcome bad offensive line play. Deshaun Watson did it in Houston. He needs to be able to do it here. The offensive line is not as good as it's been hyped up to be. I agree with you there.
And that's a problem.
But it's not terrible. And outside of left tackle, that's the only spot that's terrible. Now that's a problem.
Well, that
they've refused to deal with.
That is the most important position.
But ultimately, you can overcome it. Again, Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl with the worst offensive line in the league.
Where are they now, by the way? I haven't seen the Bengals enough to know.
They haven't played well on the offensive line.
Okay.
However, you got to take in consideration when someone doesn't pull their weight, somebody else has to take the slack. When the offensive line for the Bengals, when the offensive line for the Bengals wasn't playing, they had elite playmakers at receiver that would go get footballs. The Browns don't have that right now.
They have one elite playmaker in Chase. T. Higgins is not elite. He's very good. He's in the same class as Cooper. Higgins and Cooper are the same class.
Mikey's got to read, I believe.
And Joe Mixon's not elite. He's good, but not elite.
We do got to get a read in here real quick before we dive into the rest of the topics. And we will definitely touch on the offensive line, the running game, the defense, Stefanski, and DTR here. But before we do that, I want to remind everybody, today is a special day here at UCSS. Not only do you have a regular show, it's going to be 2 hours straight Browns-Ravens, but at 2 o'clock, we are hopping over to Cavs Media Day for a live 90-minute to 2-hour show on this YouTube channel from Cavs Media Day. Brad Sellers is already out there with Jason Lloyd helping us get set up. Myself will be down there. Earl will be down there. That is on the UCSS YouTube channel. It's going to start right around 2 o'clock. We'll go till 3:34-ish. The Cavs have promised us at least a dozen players walking through, so that should
Isn't that nice? Like live interviews on
should
a
be a
sports
lot
show.
of
What
fun.
a novel concept.
Yeah.
We'd have
And then
made
after
it.
that-
We'd have made it, Jay. Look,
Browns don't let us run any soundbite.
After that, G. Bush will be going live on the UCSS channel at 6 o'clock for the barbershop.
Can you imagine?
So you got a 3-pack of content today coming from UCSS. It would be unfair, though, guys, and I know we just got off at a little tangent on the offensive line, which is part of the offensive issues yesterday,
crazy.
but the Browns started a 5th-round rookie making his first career start against Baltimore. It did not go well for DTR, but I also think it would be unfair to say his head coach did him any favors.
He did not.
Stefanski helped him out at all.
Yeah,
with
there's
that,
blame to go around everywhere. I mean,
Yeah,
no
doubt.
one is blameless.
Yeah,
Is it all Stefanski's fault? No. Is it all DTR's fault? No. Is it all the line's fault? No. You lose as a team, you win as a team. Everybody should have their hand up this morning.
It's funny. I said earlier that nobody was saying before this game that the Browns should have kept Josh Dobbs, and as soon as the game was over, everybody was screaming about Josh Dobbs, which is silly. But
Everyone wanted DTR.
right, everybody. No,
And
however,
by the way, DTR, Josh Dobbs, although he beat Dallas, what's his record as a starting quarterback in the NFL?
now,
I think he has one win.
In fairness, everybody thought they were going to suck, and he doesn't have a lot of talent around him.
Right.
He's not been awful, but he's not been
They beat the
that
Cowboys.
good. They played well in that game, and he played decently in the first half against the
He did.
Niners
Yeah.
yesterday. But the thing is, they should have known, Stefanski and Berry, that this guy wasn't ready to play. And if they
should
now
have.
maybe they thought he was, and maybe he panicked. I don't know what happened, but if they knew he was going to be anywhere close to as bad as he was, then maybe they should have gone with the veteran and P.J. Walker, who at least it wouldn't be his first NFL game, so he wouldn't be as nervous. I don't know, but
if Watson can't go in 2 weeks, and by the way, we don't know. There's fluid on the sack by the rotator cuff. Sometimes that dissipates, sometimes it sticks around. If he can't go, do you think making a change to Walker against San Francisco is the smart move? Or do you put him out there against Joey Bosa and the 49er Wolves? Because someone's going to get hurt in that game.
Hey, listen, forget P.J. Walker, P.J. Hill, whoever the P.J. it is, P.J. Brown. Listen, sleeping in your P.J.s. Listen, that's out of here. If there is any inkling, I'll give y'all this little thing right here. Because it seemed like there was a communication misnomer between Stefanski and Deshaun Watson. Because Deshaun said he was going to play. He told everybody he was going to play. He was ready to play. He got out there, couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards. Now, let me ask you this. We've dealt with this arm thing before. And we see that sometimes those things continue to linger.
It can derail a season.
And guess what? Is he ready? Is he not? You come back, he takes a hit, put him back on the shelf. The Cleveland Browns seriously need to be the adult in the room and say, listen, we like the little story with DTR. Give me a veteran. Give me somebody that's won some games. Give me somebody.
Well, who do you want to get?
Who picking? Hey, my job ain't to look at the list.
You want to go sign Carson Wentz?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been on the shelf for a while.
Hey,
might be the best option.
I can't do the rookie stuff.
There's a reason nobody's wanted him.
But I can't do that. I can't do the rookie.
It's one game.
I know, but the other thing too is I always make a baseball analogy.
Yeah.
A manager that puts a guy on the bump for the first time in the major leagues has to treat him differently than he would Shane Bieber.
Okay, but what's the answer? There's no better answer.
What I'm saying is, not only do you risk getting this guy injured, DTR is not a thick, sound, full quarterback. He's more on the frail, slight side.
Yeah.
Not only do you risk physically injuring him, you could put him in a spot where he starts seeing ghosts. And isn't that the two words you never want to hear your young quarterback?
In my opinion, you're overstating the offensive line issues, and I'm just not worried about that.
But here's what you're saying to the guys in the locker room. The guys already started to whispering. There's multiple guys that reached out personally and said, why are we DTR dropping back 36 times to pass the football? They were worried about why.
Well, again, in the second half, what choice did you have?
What
choice did you have in the second half? Down big.
They came out. They came out the first 3 plays. DTR scrambles against the first down. First drive, you got a fresh new set of downs. Stefanski drops back and throws the ball 4 more times. Yeah, that's seven times.
They were first and 20.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you come back, get a couple of yards on first down.
Right, but they ran on first down. It was a penalty,
No, what happened was they got sacked on first down, and they got to 2nd and 20.
But there was.
And they had to run 2 more times. And that's not the minutia. The minutia, what I'm saying is, you got a veteran locker room, and those guys in there, especially under Jim Schwartz, is thinking a lot different. Best believe they don't like the feeling of saying, we putting our season on a rookie.
So who do you want? Well, it's not the season. I mean, this is not a serious injury that Watson has.
I don't think we can rule that out yet.
Yeah.
Yesterday during the telecast, they said, in terms of long-term ramifications, they just don't know yet. So here's what that tells me. And also, the fluid issue is a concern. You don't know the severity of it yet. And let's just hope, for the sake of this team and 2023 season, that Deshaun Watson is throwing the football fine in a week from now, and he's practicing leading up to San Francisco, and he's able to go. But it does need to start sifting into the Browns' thought process that might not be the case.
Well, what's the solution?
That's what we're talking about.
Well, who do you want?
What do we want?
We're not saying get rid of DTR.
But who do you want? Give me, do you have a solution?
Real quick, I just did a quick Google search.
There you go.
The top available free agent quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Are you serious right now?
Yes.
I'm just gonna read the names, and I'm gonna ask if any of these.
It's a question they have to ask if he's ruled out for 6 to 8 weeks.
Well,
and we don't
these
know
guys
that.
Can play anymore.
We don't know that.
There's a reason nobody wanted Carson Wentz.
I don't think any of these
once upon a
names.
time, nobody wanted Baker Mayfield either.
Right.
I mean,
Baker wasn't. No, that's not a comparison. Baker's been
dealt by 3 teams.
I know, but he's never been sat there as a free agent for 10 months.
No, not at all. But it's when you take a look at his career trajectory.
Yeah.
He was an overall number 1. Cleveland let him go. Carolina let him go. The Rams let him go.
But
so what I'm saying is,
it's not a good
I think
comparison,
sometimes
though.
today, and I know that Carson Wentz has had a big body of work where he's been awful.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's the situation in the player. Sometimes.
So
we also know that once upon a time, this guy could play.
So you want to bring in a guy who hasn't played.
Yes.
He's the softest quarterback maybe in the history of football behind a shaky offensive line.
I don't know if you listed who's the softest quarterback in the NFL.
I bet you every player in the NFL would pick him.
I don't think
There's a reason he's not on the team.
Here's my thinking between soft. I need guys that know what coverage is. I need guys that have taken snaps before. You cannot.
But you guys haven't given me an answer.
Listen,
he
we
started
to,
and you said, are you kidding?
So these are free agents. Go ahead,
These are the 5 names that consistently pop up. Trevor Siemian is no longer on that list.
Right.
Trevor Siemian.
I'm actually with Bull. I don't think any of these move the needle at all. But you have Nick Foles, Joe Flacco, Colt McCoy, Matt Ryan, or Carson Wentz. Those are your 5.
They're all pretty much the same guy. How old's Carson Wentz? 31, maybe 32.
How's Nick Foles?
Are you serious?
We've seen a lot from Nick.
So listen. This as an let's just
those guys can't play.
Let's
except
just,
for maybe Wentz, and nobody wants it.
Wentz is 30.
Let's just let's move off of the fan era and just get to a business standpoint. As a business owner, I cannot put the entirety of my season on a rookie. You just at the most important.
Then why
position,
did we not say that before this week?
Hey, listen, that's their problem. You should have been thinking about it.
And here's the other thing too: it's not the fans' job to do that. It's the
front
office job.
I'm not
to do that.
Fair, but why was that? How come everybody in the media didn't say this beforehand?
Because you got.
And now 1 week we're panicking.
I'll tell you
and we
why.
got to go sign Matt Ryan.
I'll tell you why, Bull. You never think about the backup quarterback until you have to think about the backup quarterback, because, like you said, the plan is Watson's our guy. And if he's not here, it's a punt anyhow. And then, it looks like that might be exactly the way the front office is looking at it.
Because I thought in this game it was an exact punt. it looked just like they did a couple of years ago.
You could have kept Dobbs and DTR, too, by the way. It wasn't an either-or situation.
I know that, but nobody was saying that.
No, nobody was.
Nobody.
But again, that's not our job in the media, or is it the fans' job?
But if you're concerned about
the front
like to
office
kill the Browns now for not having a veteran quarterback is weak.
So hold on. If you got a leaky roof, bull, and then it stops leaking, and you don't do anything about it, right?
Quarterbacks get hurt all the time. They should have known. If it was a problem, then we should have known. You don't just wait for a guy to get hurt.
But here's the thing: do you have inaction now? Why would you have inaction?
Okay,
if you
so
see
fine.
Something's wrong?
So give me the answer of who's going to make the Browns better. In that
Listen,
list.
I tell you what. Listen, it's not about if they're going to make the Super Bowl with these guys.
Yeah.
It's about getting a veteran. See, what you got to understand is you're projecting and you trying to get all the rest of these 53 grown men to go your way.
No.
No. Yes, you are.
These guys haven't played all year. They're going to come in here and play quarterback now.
So hold on. You telling me, and this is the point.
Yeah.
You telling me that you are these top-notch players on defense, Myles Garrett, all these rest of these guys. You telling me if they go out there and they got a rookie quarterback and they lose 2 out of the next 3 games or something.
Yeah.
You telling them that those veterans is going to be pulling up with that?
I have no idea, but I don't think that any of these guys are going to give them any better chance to win.
Yes, they will.
Okay,
Because
I just don't see that.
Here's the thing: even if you got these guys that know how to read coverage, instead of running into certain things, guess what you can do?
So who do you want him to sign? What would you do?
Hey, I would sign. Give me Nick Foles. I'll take him.
Oh,
and at the end of the day, you don't have to start him over DTR immediately, but you have a contingency plan, right? You have. Let me break him out of glass. If Deshaun Watson,
you think DTR should still play the next game?
I would give him. Hold on, watch this.
Yeah.
If I brought in a veteran, and I would evaluate it, I'd go watch this tape. DTR's lost in the sauce. That performance.
Yeah, we can't have that again.
That ain't it.
Well, there's not. Listen,
we can't have
first
that
of all,
again.
They were preparing for Deshaun Watson to play.
Yes.
100% preparing for Deshaun Watson to play.
From Wednesday on, he took all the reps.
No, he didn't take all the reps. He took the passing reps.
Yeah, okay.
Deshaun Watson was expecting to play. The team was expecting him to play.
Well, Wednesday
the whole
he didn't
weekend.
practice.
He did not practice at all Wednesday.
So we know who took all the reps Wednesday.
Friday he was taking all the running reps. Watson, all of them. He was doing all the handoffs.
But he can't throw.
That's a mistake on the Browns.
I think that's a mistake on the Browns.
Yeah.
We've been here before. When a player tells you they can play, you trust your eyes and say, listen, let me get a contingency plan ready. If DTR
Teams don't do that. Look at the Bengals. Look what they're doing. Burrow can't play.
Listen, I'm not
worried.
Well,
the Browns went with Baker when they never should have.
I'm not worried about what other teams is doing. I'm worried about what we're supposed to be doing in this huddle, what we got going. The bottom line is if you got a quarterback, he can't throw. He's not showing you he can throw. He's only doing the run plays. You got to get DTR ready with something that you think he can run with. Not 5 wide plays, not trick reverse spin move, throw it behind your back moves.
Yeah, I think Friday when he threw the ball once and came over to the trainer, the decision was made then.
We got to get prepared.
And I know they were holding out for the best case scenario, and I'm sure they probably gave him a shot Sunday morning and said, go see what you have. But look, quarterbacks get hurt. It's unfortunate. What we have to start questioning now is, do we want that again? Do we want to see him? And by the way, the Ravens I don't think they're an elite defense, but they're not a bad defense.
No.
They're a very formidable defense. The Niners come in here with shine. They come in here as an elite defense.
Yeah, but the Browns can't beat the Niners without Deshaun Watson, probably no matter who their quarterback is.
Well, I hope to God they're not thinking that.
They can't think that way.
I know. I don't
not.
care what they're thinking. I'm talking about what I'm thinking. The reality is they have a very small chance of beating the Niners without Deshaun Watson.
Said every team that faced Brock Purdy last year.
Why would they say that?
Because he was Mr. Irrelevant. He was a rookie quarterback. How's this guy going to come in here and beat us?
Okay, but after a couple of weeks when he started playing well, nobody was thinking that.
Right. But early on, everybody was like, we got the Niners. They're playing Brock Purdy.
Okay, but are you disagreeing with my point?
I'm disagreeing that I certainly hope the players over there are saying, well,
nobody's saying what the players are thinking. I'm saying from an outside perspective.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely the Browns win without Deshaun Watson. Is that fair?
That's very fair.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
But what you have to start considering is, where's your point on the horizon after that? Like, you can't just throw your hands up on the season and say, thanks for playing.
Agreed. So Nick Foles played 2 games last year for the Colts, right? No touchdowns, 4 picks.
Okay.
Completed 50% of his passes. That's, and maybe he plays better than that. He did, 5 years ago.
I think with Nick Foles
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz, and it seems like a lot of quarterbacks now, Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson, what we're seeing from most quarterbacks in the NFL, even Joe Burrow right now, we're seeing that the gap between their ceiling and their floor is massive. It really is. I mean, it's cost guys chances in the NFL. Baker can look so bad that the Browns, the Panthers, and the Rams all said no thanks in the span of about 16 months.
Yep.
Buccaneers said, we need someone to replace Tom Brady. Let's give Baker a shot. He was once upon a time a former number 1 pick. And the guy comes out throwing darts. I think we have this, and I know you got to be going through this with the Bengals. I'm thinking this for you.
Yeah.
Who the hell is Joe Burrow? What happened to Joe Burrow? Who is this guy? The floor and the ceiling is so wide now. The gap is so wide that I think it's almost unrealistic to expect that you're going to get an elite quarterback performance consistently. No. I mean, even Mahomes, who won the game last night, did not look like Patrick Mahomes. Now, he made plays at the end to win the game.
The great quarterbacks, when healthy, are going to play great most of the time.
I agree with that.
So
however,
there's a big difference. You can't put all these guys in the same category.
Bull, what I would say is, give me the top 3 quarterbacks right now coming into the season. Here was the conversation.
Yeah.
It was Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
It was Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
And it was Josh Allen.
Yep. Yeah.
All 3 this year have looked okay at times. Burrow has not looked great yet.
Well, he's not healthy, but he's on the field.
Allen
Josh
against
Allen's
Miami yesterday looks like a world beater. In week 1, he was throwing the ball to the other jerseys all day.
That's one game, Jay.
I know, but
Josh Allen's played great 3 games in a row.
Those are the quarterbacks who are the greats right now. Those are the greats. Those are the top echelon quarterbacks.
Right.
And what we've got from those 3, and I know it's only a quarter of the season, but what we've had from them, here's Mahomes. Here's Joe Burrow. Here's Josh Allen.
No, you're wrong on Josh Allen.
No, Josh Allen looked horrible in week 1.
Right, he's played great in 3 games since.
Oh, okay. What I'm saying, I'm just talking about their body of work this year.
But I don't understand what your point is.
Who's the quarterback this year that's gone out and had 4 unbelievable great games and hasn't thrown an egg?
Brock Purdy.
No, Brock Purdy. I watched Brock Purdy in their primetime game a couple of weeks ago. He still made some throws that he can't make. Now he has been really good.
Played very well in 4 games.
You said something at the top I want to drill down on because you're absolutely right. Here's my thought going into the game was, by halftime the defense is going to get worn down and they're going to throw their hands up in the air. The defense was not horrible yesterday.
No.
It wasn't the defense we saw the first 3 weeks.
They started off like game busters.
They started off saying this: we gotta pitch a shutout or 3 points, or it's going to be a long day.
But bringing it back, I don't know how we got to this from Nick Foles.
So what I'm saying is, we've got a body of work, and I'll use Baker as the example.
Yeah.
Baker was all over with 3 different teams, and he was the one that had to wait to get a deal, and the deal he got with Tampa Bay was not great. It was kind of I guess that's who I have to sign with.
These other guys are still sitting in October.
So what I'm saying is, we've seen in Baker's career, he has been Jekyll Hyde, up, down, really good, really bad, really good, really bad, from 3 different teams. Now he's in a situation where, and even yesterday, Evans was out. Evans was hurt.
Yeah.
So without his best receiver, he went and beat a really good defense, played a great game. What I'm saying is, these guys, Foles, won a Super Bowl and has also looked like he never played the quarterback position
he's mostly been
before.
awful outside of that playoff run.
He has.
Yeah.
I will give you that. Yeah. But I can't erase from my mind that this guy won a Super Bowl. I was in the audience that day and watched him beat Tom Brady.
It was an anomaly.
It was. But then I go back and I look, too, at Carson Wentz. So what I think the answer here is, if you put the guy in the right situation, maybe. But here's what I know for a fact after watching it for 1 game.
That
DTR's not it. Not yet. I'm not giving up on him, not even close.
No.
It's not fair to him to ask him, can you save our season, please?
to put that on.
Can you save Myles Garrett's season?
But what I'm saying,
that's not fair.
First of all, we've seen guys look terrible, and then you just said it. You've seen guys look terrible, and then the next week he's got 2 weeks to prepare. Maybe he'd be better.
Right.
I don't know. He might.
But I haven't seen that
again.
from DTR yet.
But
I've seen that from Nick
if you're
Foles.
bringing up
I've seen that from Carson Wentz.
If you're bringing up some slappy quarterback who hasn't played at all in a year, I just don't know that you're likely to get any better play. He doesn't know. They don't know the system. They're new too.
Right.
They haven't been here.
But you're asking. You're looking around the locker room. You got 52 guys looking at you.
Yeah.
And especially, I'm thinking of Myles Garrett.
You can't do it.
Like, look, clock's ticking on Myles, guys. Jason has told us, clock is ticking on this guy.
Yeah.
He does not want to go double-digit losses for his entire career and have to be Joe Thomas 2.0 and stand up there at the podium in Canton and say, I had a great run, but my teams never did anything. He doesn't want to be that guy. And I don't think he will be that guy.
No.
If he has to put up with another one of these, I think Myles Garrett is going to ask to be traded.
I just think
if
we're realistic, none of these guys are going to make a difference.
Well, you got to make a move.
All right.
You got to make a move.
I know, but okay, Paul, I agree with you. Like, in large part, you're right. The magical elf isn't out there.
Right.
But to do nothing when Myles Garrett is looking at you.
Hey, I don't have a problem bringing in a veteran quarterback.
Okay.
I just think we got to be realistic about what we should expect from those guys.
And that's absolutely fair.
Y'all brought in A.J.
It's
McCarron.
absolutely
A.J. McCarron ain't going to save nobody.
Let me suggest a move for you guys, and then we'll get back into what DTR actually did yesterday and how Kevin Stefanski helped or hindered him. But this suggestion is going to be brought to us by our dear friends at Bird Dogs. You saw me walking around the Muni lot, indoor West 6 yesterday. I was rocking my Bird Dogs sweatpants. I went to West 6 yesterday in my Bird Dogs. Got a lot of compliments on them because they are the most comfortable sweatpants you will ever find. It's actually hot yesterday. Should have worn the Bird Dog shorts, which are equally as comfortable and efficient for your workout needs and whatnot. Check them out at birddogs.com to get yours today. Would you guys be interested in a possible reunion, if possible, with one Jacoby Brissett?
Yeah, but I don't know Washington's going to do that.
Washington's playing decent football. Why would they trade their backup quarterback?
And Howell's playing really well. Like, that game yesterday was a really good football game.
But the week before he threw 4 picks.
Yeah.
I know he did. But I just watched most of the second half.
Yeah.
And the overtime of that game.
He did a nice job
and I was looking at the throws he was making, the decisions he was making. Here's another example. Zach Wilson. Joe Namath said less than a week ago, that is an absolute dumpster fire. He has to go. He's horrible. Zach Wilson last night, guys, I don't know if you watched the game, and Collinsworth couldn't have been more, he was just heaping praise on him, couldn't have been more complimentary. He was making throws that 6- and 7-year veterans can't make.
But again, Jay, it's
so up, down,
everybody,
up, down.
A lot of the quarterbacks in the league are like that. That's why you want the special quarterback.
That's what you
who's
get.
Not going to be as volatile.
No, but I think what I'm saying, and I think what G. Bush is saying, I have to, at this point, and we don't even know, this is all supposition. Deshaun Watson might be on the practice field on Wednesday.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't play.
I will too, but I do know because I've had that injury. I've had the fluid on the rotator cuff. It is painful, and it lingers. Now, it doesn't always linger. I was told the same thing. It could go away in no time. It could be here for a while. But if it ends up being a while, I just think you have to do something because give me a quarterback that has shown me he can do it.
Right.
And I know people get mad and, you keep talking about, listen, we're trying to give you a scenario in which an organization still has to make a choice. We saw the way we came off 2020. We come into 21. We got high expectations. Third game of the season, Baker get hurt, right? Now we got to make a decision. Do you play him or do you not play him?
Ironically enough, the same game of the season that Deshaun Watson gets
and overall, most people, either you are a Baker bro or you weren't a Baker bro, we all agreed that they should have sat him down, right?
1,000%.
And we all,
I believe in my heart that he would still be here if they had sat him down.
And they also took heat for having the most expensive backup in the game, but would not utilize him because they just threw him out there. Now, here's the point. I think that had a lot to do with them saying, you know what, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to give him 2 weeks. I think also the Joe Burrow thing went into it. They looked at Joe Burrow and said, I'm not sure that they should be playing him on that injury because it's going to linger. Now, here's the thing. Like you said, they learn from that, but they also have to understand they don't have that type of time and grace period no more. So you got Deshaun Watson, and think about it. The way the offensive line has been playing, you cannot overstate it. Deshaun Watson got beat up against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson got beat up a little bit against Tennessee. And you saw what happened in DTR when they put him in the game. He's going to take hits. So you have to have a contingency plan that says, if we need a play, if we need to put somebody in, we can run the football, run play action, and he won't throw picks. Give me a veteran guy.
Guys, we gotta move on because we've talked about this a lot, right? We got to talk about.
We stumbled upon it,
there's
too.
There's been a lot of talk about Kevin Stefanski and the play calling. And I'll say this. Number one, I feel like every game the Browns lose, everybody complains about the play calling. He gets no credit when they win. Now, that doesn't mean he doesn't deserve blame because I thought he made some mistakes. I think the overreaction to every time a trick play doesn't work is insane. Trick plays, when they don't work, always look bad on every team. When they work, we go bananas. My biggest problem with Stefanski really was not about how much he threw the ball, because in the second half they had to throw the ball. They were down big. I do think that he's so usually enamored with tight ends. Yesterday, I think, was the game to use the more tight ends.
I thought
and
so
try
too,
for
Bull.
a dink and dunk offense.
And they didn't do it.
And that's the fair complaint. Complaining about how often they threw the ball, to me, that's unfair.
I think it's more looking at the kind of throws they made. You got to put DTR in a position to be successful. And we talked about this on Friday. What is the offense going to look like? We all said this. It's basically going to be an extension of the running game. You're going to have quick hitters to the line, to receivers that you have blockers out there with them to get them bubble screens or whatever. Tight ends are going to be heavily involved. Likely Ford out of the backfield. I didn't see that.
Now, what we don't know, without looking at the All-22 yet, I don't know if you've seen the All-22 yet, is were there routes that were open that he should have hit quicker and he just wasn't seeing it?
We don't know, but they didn't highlight that on the broadcast.
He independent of the play calling, DTR was awful in this game. Now, I'm not killing him because I, like many people who saw his preseason and went bananas like lunatics, said this guy's a fifth-round pick for a reason. Sure. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. You can bring up Brock Purdy, you can bring up Tom Brady, fine.
He's the norm.
The norm is rookie quarterbacks, period, but especially rookie quarterbacks drafted late that play quick, that weren't expecting to play, are going to struggle most of the time, and he did.
I think Brock Purdy was the last pick in the draft.
Right.
I think we start to become deconditioned, thinking, well, if Mr. Irrelevant can do it, hell, our guy was the starter at UCLA for 5 years. He should be able to do it.
We all agree that Kyle Shanahan is a much better play caller and schemer than
well,
Kevin
that has
Stefanski.
something to do with it.
Because when you look at the San Francisco 49ers, they run the football from every level. They give you motion, they give you split action, they run out of their shotgun. I had to look at it.
They also have weapons.
They got weapons.
I mean, you give any offense Debo and McCaffrey.
I've seen every Browns game for the last 3 years on the All-22.
Debo didn't even do anything yesterday.
No, he didn't.
Tell me about it. I have it on fantasy.
I watched the whole All-22. I watched all the All-22 this year, and I reached out to Jake Burns. He's on the Orange and Brown Report. You know, I think he breaks down the film well, and he's broken down the All-22. And I said, listen, let me just reach out to you, actually.
Of this game already?
Not this game, but overall. I said, I watched all the other games, including up to this one. I don't think this is out yet. And I said, is it just me, or does it seem like this is the same offense that I've been watching on All-22 for the last 2 years?
Yeah, this nonsense about wait till you see the offense. Stop hyping it because it's not there.
He said, besides the trick plays, this offense is very, very similar to what they've done. Besides the trick stuff, it's the same offense.
You know how it's different now? Your wizard is gone.
And
there's no Nick Chubb.
And people...
And he hides a lot of warts.
Well, but last week without him, they had their best offensive game of the year.
But here's the thing. You can have a great offensive game. You can have spots we just talked about up and down. But the reason why everything looks the way it does, and when people try to say Nick Chubb is regular, he's not. What we're saying right now is when you have a Nick Chubb, you have to respect the run game. Passing game, when the passing windows is different.
The Browns are now one-dimensional.
If you got Nick Chubb, you may think the O-line was balling, but guess what? Nick Chubb says, oh, there's a guy in the hole, I'm going to cut it back. Once he cuts it back, he has vision that other people don't got. Then he makes the first guy miss. So now he's in the secondary. Then when you hit him, he's falling forward because he always moves the pile. So you got Nick Chubb doing all four of these things to make your offense look a lot better. And yet and still, when you take that away, you're starting to see, well, who am I scared of? Who scares you?
They're one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And that's how teams become losers.
We got to
week in and week
see.
out.
I'm not ready to say they're one-dimensional yet because we've only had one game of Jerome Ford and Deshaun Watson. One game.
Yeah, but the run game wasn't there when they won. That was mostly Deshaun Watson.
Right. But the goal is to win. It doesn't matter. The run game wasn't there.
Right.
And it was irrelevant that it wasn't there in that game.
We don't.
Right. That's all. We only have one game.
But now we have the next game where the run game was not there at all.
Right. But you were going with a quarterback that had no chance. The whole defense was focused on the run. And we know he's not Nick Chubb.
Now you're zero-dimensional.
Yesterday you were zero-dimensional. Yes, that's fair.
Which is the last thing in the world anybody wants to be.
I just gotta, you got to see more.
I want to see Pierre Strong more.
Yeah.
I do. I want to see him more.
He played in garbage time, but
I know he did. But it was a nice run. He's got breakaway speed. What the hell?
Did you notice what they said in the telecast? He said it's very hard for the Browns' offensive line to get back into pass block when they know you're passing the football, especially when this line is built to block for Nick Chubb.
Absolutely.
When you watch the archetypes of what the skill sets are, the Browns have never been tremendous pass blockers. What they've been great at is pounding teams and running play action. So when you want to run this 5-wide stuff, and you got a quarterback that has never played the game before, that hasn't been in the game, to run 5 wide is malpractice with a rookie quarterback because it takes too much high degree of basically it's a high degree of just knowing what's going on.
You got to process things so fast.
You got to process it. You got to make the line calls. You got to understand where the blitz is coming from. You got to throw the ball with anticipation. So no, you can't. Now what happened to taking the ball, snapping it, and going with a quick 3-step drop under center? What happened to that?
That's what I thought we'd see.
You can max protect with 2 tight ends.
I'll be curious to see if he does play. I'm hoping, obviously we're all hoping Watson plays against San Francisco. If they will adjust the offense some, and if DTR will be a little more confident because he seemed like he was not confident at all. Seemed like he was in over his head in that game.
Yeah.
If he plays again, I got to assume he's going to start again in 2 weeks.
Unless Deshaun's healthy.
Even if you're right, even if they did sign Carson Wentz or Nick Foles, I can't imagine they play. I guess you never know, right? But we'll see. I think Stefanski definitely deserves some blame. But the reality is, and I think I've said this before, and I think it's pretty obvious, there are not that many difference-maker head coaches in the NFL. There's 4 or 5 that make a difference.
I think we played one yesterday.
Yeah.
Probably.
You know what? Mikey wants to make a point. I'll hold my point for after
just
Mikey's.
real quick on the play calling, DTR whole situation. I said this on the post-game show. I just want to – I don't know if you saw it, Jay, or Bull, you saw it, but to me, and I bring everything back to basketball.
Yeah, this is good analogy.
It seemed like when you have a backup quarterback, you want to get him as many layups and free throws as humanly possible,
right?
At least to get him in rhythm. And based on what we saw, there didn't seem to be any quote-unquote layup plays there for Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Everything seemed to be an intermediate throw, multiple progressions, and in basketball terms, it seemed like he was taking...
They gave him a high degree of difficulty. But you're right.
Yeah.
Again, what we don't know is maybe some of those plays were supposed to be quick hitters, and he didn't see it. Or he was nervous and didn't throw it.
And that's fair. And when we get the All-22 back later today, it takes 24 hours. We'll be able to have a better
and
evaluation.
And both the coaches know that right now.
Absolutely.
And if that is the case, then you better start getting somebody else ready.
And if you're right and he didn't do that, and that's on Stefanski. But my point was originally is that I think there's roughly 5 coaches that make a difference in a big-time way. There's a couple of coaches at the back end who suck and are hurting teams, and probably 25 coaches in the NFL that are as good as the talent around them.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And our problem is that 2 of those difference makers are in our division.
And it doesn't help.
That's a problem.
But when I was looking at the game and they would show shots of Harbaugh, he had a cool, calm poker player's demeanor.
I saw that too.
He knew. He knew
this game was over.
I'm without, was it 8 starters?
Yeah.
He was without starters all over the field.
Yeah, but he had his most important starter.
And that's big.
Yeah.
But so there's a question for you. Would you rather your team go into a game minus 8 starters, offense and defense, or minus your starting quarterback? And if you have an offense that is deep with talent, I'd take that one because I've got other playmakers. But what was exposed yesterday, and I'm going to say this too, Cleveland Browns fans have historically and are right now over-evaluating the talent we have at wide receiver by miles.
Well, I said that before.
By miles.
I mean, and I was. But
Bull, that hasn't been
for that.
That is an every year.
Every
thing.
fan base does that.
Yeah.
Every fan base does that.
When you look at what we have at wide receiver, I said after week 2, I said at the end of the season when we're doing our postmortem, we're going to look back at the wide receiver position this year the way we looked at the inside of the defensive line
I completely
last
disagree.
year.
I completely disagree. Amari Cooper is a top 20 wide receiver.
And Myles Garrett is a top 5 pass rusher.
You said the interior pass rush.
Just take it as a unit. Pass rush. Pass rush.
You said D tackles, though.
Right, but I'm saying pass rush. Okay, you got Myles Garrett, but you got a bunch of guys.
But the rest of the Browns' defensive line were they weren't starters.
Yes, and that's what we got at wide receiver this year.
They have decent players.
They're not. Bull, they're not.
All right.
Listen.
First of all, Donovan.
Am I wrong?
First of all, Donovan.
DPJ,
can I finish my point?
Sure.
First of all, your idea that you would rather have a quarterback sit than 8 starters is insane.
No, it's not.
Nothing's more. No, of course it is. Because you win with quarterbacks in this league.
You didn't hear my whole statement.
Jay, all I've heard you do is talk. Let somebody else get a word in right now. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
So listen to me.
Come on.
What I'm saying is if you've got no other playmakers on offense.
They have playmakers. What are they supposed to do? You had a quarterback that couldn't play.
We have playmakers.
If they had Jamar Chase yesterday, it wouldn't have done them any good. If they had Justin Jefferson yesterday, you didn't have a quarterback to give him the ball. What are you talking about?
No playmakers on offense.
Amari Cooper's not a playmaker.
He wasn't yesterday.
You just said he's not a. Is he a playmaker? Yes or no?
If he's got a quarterback, of course he is.
Okay, so what are you talking about?
So who else on that offense scares any defensive coordinator?
Nobody. Who else on the offense besides Travis Kelce is anybody scared on the Chiefs? Nobody.
Patrick Mahomes.
Besides the quarterback, Jay.
Oh, besides the quarterback.
What teams?
Other than that, let's not look at the quarterback.
Jay, people are scared of Deshaun Watson, not like Patrick Mahomes, of course, but
no, they're not.
So
not even close.
Of course they are.
What are your thoughts on DPJ?
He's an average receiver.
Okay. What are your thoughts?
The Browns' defensive line, none of those guys were average. They were all terrible.
What are your thoughts?
It's a terrible comparison.
What are your thoughts on Elijah Moore?
He's just a guy, just like I said he would be.
What about Njoku?
Average tight end. They're better than average.
What about Marquise Goodwin?
Average tight end.
Marquise Goodwin? Who thought anything of Marquise Goodwin? He's been what he was.
So
what do you want?
He's making our point.
We're not making your point. The Browns' defensive line was loaded with scrubs. These guys are not scrubs. They're players. Okay, they're average guys.
They're better.
They're way better than last year's
You're saying scrubs. I mean, they have Myles Garrett too.
Yes, just like the Browns have Amari Cooper.
And what are you getting? You're getting from the Browns wide receivers this year what we got from the Browns defensive line last year.
A ridiculous comparison, but whatever.
I believe that the Browns defensive line last year was worse than what the.
Of course they're worse. It was the worst in the league.
I think what Jay is saying is we're overestimating the
value.
Not
me. I didn't overestimate.
I never said you.
A lot of people.
You're so defensive, Bull. I never said you.
A lot of people.
I said the Cleveland Browns
fan base. I'm not defensive. I'm just saying.
Of which you're not a part of. So why would I say you?
I'm saying that every fan base overrates their talent. Everyone, of course they do. I had every Jet fan telling me they're going to go to the playoffs when Aaron Rodgers got hurt.
The Jets are the Browns. The Jets are the Browns. Their fan base is the Browns fan base. They talk
Steelers fans are saying Kenny Pickett's going to be the next star.
They talk themselves into the idea that they're better than they are. That's what we've done here.
Did Steeler fans not think Kenny Pickett was going to be great?
Yeah,
how's he been so far?
Some did. I think the problem in Pittsburgh is the offensive coordinator.
You can do two things at once.
Yeah.
Everybody's delusional. Everybody can drink the Kool-Aid.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I don't care what other fans are. I don't care that every other
too. So what we're saying is, if you look at this receiving core, there are certain, and this is what I said before we start the show. Sometimes, they're 2-2. Is the world falling? No, because Deshaun Watson can come back.
Well, you guys are talking about the team as if everything's lost.
No. We're just pointing out areas of opportunity. There are some areas where they can improve. This is the same way they would do in a film session. You think they're going to go in there and say everything was great when we lost 28-3? No, they're going to say, Jim Schwartz is going to say, defense, we got to adjust some stuff. They found out some stuff on the run game. Remember, I'll even go to this. And just so you know, when we watching and we talk about the X's and O's, one thing that Jim Schwartz saw, and one thing I give Baltimore credit for was we talked about non-contained on the backside. Didn't we say that?
Well, what we said was at some point someone's going to figure that out.
And I said, and you watch the touchdown play with Lamar Jackson. You see what they did.
Every
flow. And then what they did is they took and ran the counter play with the quarterback right, and it opened up like the Red Sea. And I was like, oh, they've been doing some film work on this.
But that's always been the counter to an over-aggressive, a hot pursuit defense. That's why you beat it.
And that's what we wanted.
Flow it one way.
We can't complain about it now. We wanted them to be aggressive.
Oh, no. It is what it is.
And if they had
there's a cheat code to it, and now it's out of the bag.
I don't buy that at all.
We'll see.
Nobody else can play. First of all, there's no other Lamar. Nobody else can play that way.
There are other running quarterbacks.
Not like him, though.
There's other plays you can do to simulate that. You can do counter plays in the backfield with running backs.
And Jim Schwartz is a great coach, and he'll adjust as well. Too. But here's the thing. The touchdown that put the game out of hand at 21-3 when they scored that third. Andrew, that was a great throw by Lamar and a great catch by Andrew.
That was the greatest.
What are you going to do?
That was the best.
Coverage. The coverage was good.
Vintage
that throw
Lamar.
That was a beautiful throw.
It's the best throw I've ever seen.
And a great catch.
That's the best throw I've ever seen Lamar Jackson.
It's among them. I mean, he's made some incredible throws in his career.
I mean, I don't know how he got it in there.
But there was one spot that he could hit where that play would be a touchdown, and he hit it. He hit
perfect throw.
Perfect execution. Denzel Ward maybe didn't get as much on his jump, but that's because he was moving in the process. But he played it well. First of all, the mismatch at that position, they took advantage of it.
And I think one thing that we saw when it was 14-3, and this is when you goes back to talking about Harbaugh. He won that game, and it was easy to him. He didn't. It wasn't like
never stressed.
It was a walk in the park because he played complementary football. He understood. See, the Ravens and the Steelers do this, and I'll give them credit for it. They don't go in basing the game off of what they did last week or what you did last week. They go on basing it based on what's happening today. They knew they had a rookie quarterback, and they said, "Listen, guys, all we need to do." We're going to get Lamar Jackson loose on a few runs. And you see, 15-19. It wasn't, he didn't throw the ball for 300 yards.
No.
15 they didn't even have 300 yards total offense.
Efficient. They run their stuff on offense. And when it was 14-3, he looked around and said, that's all we need because they ain't scoring none.
Well, what scares me is the team that's coming in here in 2 weeks is even better at doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Niners are the best team in football right now. Long way to go. Long way to go. But
Buffalo looked pretty good.
It just goes to show you, we're not
Buffalo's defense, they're good on both sides of the ball. So is San Francisco, though.
And this just goes to show you, we look at the Dolphins and you look at the Bills. Every week is different. So, I'm not sitting here saying the Browns can't come back and Deshaun Watson looks great and put up great numbers against the 49ers. They're a good team. Look what happened to the Bills.
Well, look at the Cowboys 2 weeks ago to yesterday.
Yes,
the NFL.
You can easily bounce back from this and have
a great
mind-blowing win.
That's right. And if Deshaun Watson plays and they beat the Niners, all these things go away.
1,000%.
Doesn't mean they're not still there and there aren't still issues, but then you forget about all of it.
As we sit here 13 days from the game, my confidence level that's going to happen is very low.
Because when you look at everything, everybody has to pull their weight. And to me, Stefanski is a below-average play caller.
Is he the answer long-term as the Browns play caller? Notice I didn't say head coach.
Yeah, I don't mind keeping Stefanski because I actually like his demeanor. I just don't like his playbook. I don't like what he does offensively. I don't like the scheme. I don't like that. If
Deshaun Watson likes him.
Listen,
that's true.
If Deshaun Watson likes the playbook, that's great. But here's the thing: I got to make it.
If Deshaun Watson likes him and he comes back healthy and they finish 12-5, that's great.
That's great.
If Deshaun Watson likes him, he comes back healthy, and the Browns finish 7-10, that's not
fired.
Great. That's not great.
Yeah. So, but to me,
or at least loses the play calling.
No, he's fired.
I'm with G. Instead of just dismissing him and firing him, I would be all in on a move where Jimmy or somebody came to him and said,
"Get a coordinator, man.
You're staying on as the head coach, but you're hiring an offensive coordinator. Whether that's Van Pelt or not, is going to be a true offensive coordinator. You're going to be the head coach of the team. We've seen your play calling now for 4 full seasons. We're ready to move on from it. You can stay as head coach if you want. I would be fine with that.
And it's not like he doesn't have input.
Well, what's your biggest beef with the offense?
Bland.
Well, he does.
Every time they run a trick play that doesn't work, you get mad.
My beef with the offense is
Yes.
I'm not complaining about the trick plays.
No. Listen, my beef with the offense
Yeah.
is timing and rhythm of the offense and when you call certain things. His first scripted plays
Yeah.
are okay. But when you're talking about a coordinator, you actually have an a la carte menu of plays to run. Say it's 3rd and 2. You got your 3rd and 2 plays. You got your 2nd and medium plays right here, here. You got your 3rd and long plays. It's not the fact that his scripted plays are bad. It's when he goes to pick and punch and dial up other plays for certain circumstances
that are routine 1st and 10s.
You don't. He's not on task. The plays don't have any semblance to him. And I ask people all the time, if you watch the Baltimore Ravens and the way they play, that is a Baltimore Ravens game, 15-19, 21-24. Those are games Lamar Jackson, they're not asking them to go deep. They're going to run what they run. But when you watch...
But they do ask them to go deep plenty at other times.
But no, they're not asking them to do shots.
Everybody was complaining that Lamar didn't have the talent because he wants to throw more. Now it's like, well, he's got to play conservative.
No. We're not talking about conservative.
Yeah.
We're talking about the play style and what we're doing in progression.
They played and called the perfect game Sunday.
To me,
they didn't ask him to do it.
If I asked you, while Kevin Stefanski has been here, what is the Browns' identity on offense? What would you say?
Confused.
What would you say the identity is?
Till this year, it's been running the ball.
So if we're not running the football, if your identity is running the football, that means you would be running the football no matter who's back there. Well, no matter what our line is built on this, we're going to run.
Here's the unfortunate thing that the Browns found themselves in. And this hit me again yesterday. Someone told me this after Nick Chubb went out. And I dismissed it because that wasn't the case against Tennessee. But what he said is, now we're really going to see how Stefanski can coach offense. And I said, why? What does that mean? He said, this team is built for Nick Chubb. They're not built for a 35 passes a game. And they don't have another Nick Chubb in the wings. And his phrase was, and I've used it on the show, Nick hides a lot of your warts. And now they're going to be exposed. So I think, I say they were caught in an unfortunate spot. They drafted Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb turned into one of the top 3 backs in the NFL.
By
so
the way,
you got him. You're going to use him.
Yeah.
So I don't blame the Browns for saying we're going to build around this guy. But as Bull has pointed out a million times on this show, those teams don't win Super Bowls in today's NFL. The teams that win Super Bowls are teams that have throwing quarterbacks. So if that's the case, and we know it is, the Browns kind of had the misfortune of having one of the best running backs in the league at a time when it just doesn't fit its purpose. When Jim Brown was the best running back in the league, that's how you won. Unfortunately for the Browns, they had Nick Chubb in a passing era, and now they don't have Nick Chubb. And the point that my buddy was making that seems to be on point, we're going to see now. We're going to see now.
Well, but how is it on at this point? It's not on point because the first game without Nick Chubb, the offense was great.
Right, that's why I said after the Tennessee game, I'm like, well, that's not necessarily true.
And last week, this past game, you played with a guy making his NFL debut. You can give Stefanski some blame, but Stefanski could have called a perfect game. They still probably weren't going to win yesterday.
The degree of his coaching play calling, the degree of difficulty has drastically gone up. He's lost his best quarterback and his best running back.
Right.
So in a vacuum, if you just consider those 2 points,
right
now, as we like to say, all eyes are on you.
Well, I get it. All eyes are on Stefanski and Watson. They're going to be asked to carry this team. And if they can't get it done, we know Watson can't be fired, so Stefanski's going to be fired and should be. If the Browns don't go to the playoffs, Stefanski should be fired. Bottom line, end of conversation. And
Under
I've defended
all
him
circumstances.
consistently.
What if they're 10-7 and they just miss?
Well, okay, that's
it's possible.
Then we're going to have some arguments.
Yeah, that's it. But if they finish under 500, and I don't want to hear it. He's done. That's it. Goodbye. But I will say this one quick sidebar. As much as I love Nick Chubb, and he's my all-time favorite Browns player, we were all insane to think that anybody was better than Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's the best back in the league.
Well, he's so versatile.
Yeah,
he's a wide receiver and running back in one.
And he still can do a lot of the things that Nick can do.
I think the reason
I'm keeping that
the pendulum has swung back into his court now,
and
I think it's because early on he was dinged a lot.
Well,
and he was missing a lot of action.
Well, early on he wasn't, but
his first couple of years he was fine.
And then he had
a
years,
stretch where it was just like, this guy can't stay on the field.
He had 2 years,
and everybody felt He just doesn't have that long-term staying
That's right.
power.
And now
I'm
that
still
he's-
I'm not convinced that he does.
Right, but he did last year. Have you seen his numbers in the 18 or 19 games with the Niners?
It's all-time great.
It's absurd.
It's all-time great what he's doing.
We got to do a PCC read real quick, and that's actually going to lead us right into a little running back chat here. So before we do that, we have a answer from the poll, from the chat, excuse me. Whenever we do that, it comes to us by PCC Airfoils. You're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? Well, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations at PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions. Start at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We asked our trusted YouTube community page, who is more at fault for the Browns' embarrassing loss and offensive performance at home yesterday versus the Ravens? 58% said the blame falls more on Kevin Stefanski. 37% said on DTR, and 6% is blaming the defense.
Was the offensive line not a
Those are the three options.
How
we
could
gave.
anybody blame the defense?
Yeah, I don't blame the defense at all.
That's
man.
ridiculous.
I mean, the defense held. If you told me coming into the game the Ravens won't have 300 yards of total offense, it's it's a win.
Yeah,
it's a win.
That's definitely a win.
And even when you look at the stats, like I think the first downs were 18-16 or something. It wasn't the Browns. I think
was
won
closer.
the time
I mean,
of
one of the
possession,
Ravens' touchdowns came off of an interception on a short yard
which
situation.
is a point. When does this defense start forcing turnovers? We're a quarter away through the season.
Yeah.
And they aren't doing it.
They got a turnover yesterday.
It was a gift
in the red zone,
but it was a gift.
It was a gift. I'll take
it
all
wasn't.
gifts.
It wasn't anything to us.
Right.
We fell on a loose ball.
Hey, listen, I found
But we're not
$100.
A
ripping
lot
the
of
ball out.
turnovers are gifts.
Right.
But sometimes you find teams that make their own breaks. They rip the ball away.
Yeah.
They step in front of passes, and they don't drop them when they're in their hands. This team, to be an all-time great defense, has to be better than 30th in the NFL in takeaways.
Well, here's the thing. I like Jim Schwartz's attitude. You know, when people was praising him and asking him about all-time great stuff, he said, "Man,
ridiculous."
I had to make some adjustments after we won against Tennessee."
Right.
He said some stuff y'all didn't even really see. He's like there's a lot of meat left on the bone per se about this defense.
Well, Baltimore saw it,
and they saw something in it. And I thought the tackling went back down. I thought the tackling, a lot of missed tackles. JOK missed a lot of open field tackles. You know, obviously it's Lamar Jackson. He's going to move around and he's going to make some plays. But I thought
Emerson missed a couple. Too.
Emerson missed a couple tackles. And I thought they found something on misdirection plays and plays running opposite of where the rush is coming from. And so, you know, I thought Baltimore ran the ball really well. And that was the thing that we could not stop. And Baltimore does a good job of saying, look,
they still only average 4 yards per carry. It's not like they were killing it out there.
I think the defense in general, that's why I think it's absurd that 6% of the people would say,
that's insane.
Oh, I think you should have, instead of the defense, you should have put the offensive line on there.
Agreed.
I think the percentage of blame for Stefanski is fair, over 50. I think 37 on DTR is unrealistic. The kid got thrown to the wolves.
Well, it's a tricky situation because in this hand I say, well, he was awful. There's
he was.
no doubt. But realistically, I would say, what do you expect? But on Friday, when we thought DTR might play, you guys all said you were sticking with the Browns.
We were all talking ourselves into maybe he can do it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
Brock Purdy did it. We've got a great defense. Why not?
Right.
Why not?
Right,
because
I talked myself into it based on how every coach goes about. We look at Bailey Zappi. Bailey Zappi came in here last year with the New England Patriots a couple years ago. And, no, it was last year.
Yep.
And they put 38 on us. You know why? Because after you went and evaluated and you looked at film, Bill Belichick saw 2 or 3 plays in which he found out the way the Browns were covering certain things in up front and in the secondary.
They were giving you points.
And he said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to come in and we're going to do exactly that. And that's the way you have to do with rookies. You have to pare it down. And I know the percentage chance of you winning ain't very high.
Most teams with rookies making their first start lose the game.
Lose again.
Let's be fair.
So you gotta make it nasty.
I blame Brock Purdy for all this.
Yeah, it has to be
his
money.
fault.
And there's no draws. There's no.
How many games have the Patriots won since that Bailey Zappi game? Not a
2.
ton.
That's kind of crazy.
Man, that was the biggest defeat Bill Belichick has ever had, including his years in Cleveland.
They said they're calling for Bill's head out there right now.
Well, look, Super Bowl equity carries a couple of years, but because Brady went on and won one without him,
that
a lot of Patriots fans I know started the pendulum was always in the middle. It's 50 Tom, 50 Bill.
Yeah.
And then when Tom went and won one in Tampa with the team that missed the playoffs the year before, that went to like 60-40 Tom.
Yeah.
And you saw what the reaction was when they brought Tom back to Foxborough earlier this year. And now the way things are going, I think it's probably 80-20.
I thought they took some shine off it too, because I didn't understand why Bill Belichick said, I'm going to hire a defensive coordinator, Matt Patricia, and make him the offensive. I said, what?
Let's face it, Bill Belichick, the GM, has been a failure for a number of years.
100%. Yeah.
He's been terrible at that. But
also, I thought his advantage early on in his career was he outworked everybody.
Right.
Nobody's outworking anybody in the NFL anymore.
No, it's not possible.
I mean, the guys are getting to work at 5 in the morning and they're staying until midnight, and everybody's burning the oil, and everybody has analytics.
Yeah.
And what used to be Bill's advantage is partly why everybody is able to do that now. Right. They're all doing the same thing he did.
DTR wasn't the only rookie making his debut. Aiden O'Connell of the Raiders.
Oh, yeah, because Garoppolo was hurt.
Yeah.
And they almost won.
Well, I don't know about almost won. But
the Chargers, what?
Well, he hurt his hand.
I know, but you talk about a quarterback or a coach that's got to be in the sling. I mean, they're 2-2.
Yeah.
And they easily could be 0-4. They could be 0-4.
Easily could be 4-0, too.
I don't know about that.
So
I don't know about that. The 2 games they lost.
Tough.
So if this Browns defense plays at the level it did yesterday, which was a step back from the first 3 weeks, but still absolutely serviceable, you hold a team under 300 yards, you feel pretty good about the performance. How good does the offense have to play to keep the Browns in a not just in the hunt for a playoff spot, but in the hunt for the AFC North division title?
Not great. I mean, look at Trent Dilfer with the Ravens. You know, look at.
But again, you can't play the way
if your defense is all-time great, Bull, your offense can be mid.
But how are we going to say that the Browns' defense is all-time great?
The supposition of this discussion was if they played the way they did the first 3 games.
All right,
I mean, they were elite.
No. I asked if they play like they did yesterday, not the
well, they won't go 500.
No,
I'm saying how good does the offense have to play?
Much better
if the defense plays at the level it did yesterday.
They have to be an offensive playmaking set, and they're not.
Do you want a grade to just or quantify how good they have to play?
Yeah,
because I can't say. So if they play the way that if they
because yesterday was a B for the defense, it wasn't an A.
I give them a B- yesterday.
That's fair.
Here's the way I break it down. I break it down: offense, defense, and coaching. Special offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. So for me, the Browns' special teams is a C- right now because they get nothing off of punt returns.
But doesn't the kicker bring that overall grade up?
Thank you, Jay. Let me bring
because that's a big part of special teams.
Let me bring that back. You're absolutely correct. I give them now a B. I give them a solid B.
Yeah, it's a B.
He's been phenomenal. I give him a solid B.
Hopkins done a great job.
The defense has been an A+. If they're playing yesterday at a B-, and you got to have the offense do something, offense has to at least be an A+, A- or A- or A.
Yeah, if they play like they did yesterday.
Yeah.
If they play like they did the first 3 weeks, the offense can be a C.
Yeah.
You don't have to do much.
Yeah.
You really don't. Trent
you know,
Dilfer didn't do much. Brad Johnson didn't do much.
Again, the odds that they're going to be that good defensively.
Jim McMahon didn't do much.
Again, it was a totally different game when those teams played.
But the defense was great.
The odds that this Browns defense is going to be as good as those is minuscule.
Can they be the Legion of Boom?
Yeah, but you can't win with a C offense in the Legion of Boom.
Okay.
They weren't a C offense.
Yeah, they weren't a C offense.
They had a rookie quarterback.
They still weren't a C offense. They still had Marshawn Lynch. And
No, they had pieces.
They had
Russell Wilson threw 26 touchdowns each of his first 2 seasons.
And the Browns won't have a C offense with Watson. They better not.
They can't. They can't have.
By the way,
the
2 Chargers losses were by 2 points to the Dolphins, and then the other one was in overtime.
But wasn't the Dolphins, weren't they down huge and they came back?
I don't remember how it went. They lost.
And I think they scored some garbage points and made it close.
No, the Dolphins came back.
The Dolphins came back and won. Who was their other loss? Who was their other loss?
The Titans in overtime.
Yeah,
they blew that lead. So they could be 4-0 also.
I think their coaches.
To me, I look at
They
it.
win in spite of him.
There's five or so, and I look at, you got Pittsburgh, and now you also Pittsburgh.
I'm a little down on Tomlin right now too. I mean, he hasn't won a playoff game in years.
It's fair to be down on Tomlin because, to your point,
he doesn't get a career pass. I mean, I think he's a good coach. And they have overachieved to be mediocre the last couple of years. But when's the last time they won a big game?
Here's how I judge, right?
Yeah.
If Mike Tomlin had the Browns roster, what would they be doing?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
No, I
think Pittsburgh. Now, yesterday it was their defense.
He's not an
too.
offensive coach.
No, but he gets guys to play. Every time we play Pittsburgh, they find a way. It don't got to be pretty. It don't got to be exemplary. They just him and Harbaugh find a way, and I can't.
They always do. Even when we have the better rosters, they beat us.
They beat us. They just do. I don't know why. It's you have to be able to match up.
Yeah, but that's fine. But it's fair to say that if I was a Steeler fan now, it's not crazy to say maybe it's time to move on from Tomlin. As good as he's been,
I want to see them with an offensive coordinator. We've talked about this on the show. The fatal.
But that's
mistake,
on Tomlin. He hires bad assistants.
Well, not according to Aditi. According to Aditi, yes, he does, and he doesn't develop them to become head coaches. But according to Aditi, when everybody in the room knew that Canada wasn't the guy, Rooney didn't want to fire him because he doesn't want to pay a coach that's not on his staff. Okay, well,
all right. Well, we can't.
You made your own bed, then lie in it.
Well, we can't complain about that and then complain about Haslam because that's the only thing that Haslam's not afraid of.
Right.
Well, he paid $49 million.
He paid everybody to go home.
He paid $49 million in 1 year to dead coaches.
The defense was in a really impossible situation.
They
didn't play great.
Yeah,
but they
knew they knew they had to be almost perfect.
Right.
And when the offense turns it over and they score 7 points right off the bat. I think some of the air left their balloon.
That's right.
And they knew that they were like you're facing a pitcher that's going to throw a perfect game.
That was a crusher. That turnover and touchdown obviously
was
a crusher.
Killed them.
And it's hard to play at the level they were playing at the first 3 weeks is nearly impossible.
And the offense can't tackle because when we throw interceptions, these guys are returning at 40 and 50 yards.
Let me ask
someone step up and make the damn tackle.
I was like, is somebody coming? Somebody about to get over it? No. Right. Let me ask y'all this question: has the 4 games changed the way you think about the possibility of playoffs with the Browns?
No.
I had them 9-8 and out anyhow.
Okay.
And
no.
So if you're going to call them 9-8, it's not a surprise they're 2-2.
The only thing that's going to change for me is Watson not being healthy and or mostly playing crappy. If he plays mostly crappy or if he's hurt, then that changes it. I don't think they're going to win.
Right. You're projecting that he's going to be more like the Tennessee than he was against Tennessee.
I don't even know if I'm projecting or hoping, but maybe it's a little of both.
I think you're projecting. Every time we talk about it, you say, he's got to be the guy that he used to be, and I think he will.
I just can't understand how a guy could lose it at his age. If he was 35, I would get it.
Are you factoring in the injury?
Carson Wentz lost it.
So you saw it one game. You saw it one game. He looked great.
Right.
Now he has the injury, right?
Yeah.
Are you factoring in
the injury is a factor? Listen, Joe Burrow is playing like crap.
Should they sit him?
Yes, they should have sat. They should have. Now listen, I didn't know. I don't know the medical situation. It seems like they screwed this up.
I didn't see a down of that game yesterday. What the hell happened?
You know what's funny about that game? Because I did watch some of it. Because I was watching both the Bengals and the Browns for a little while, and then eventually I just went to the Browns, and then I rewatched both. But what was funny is the first drive, Bengals got the ball first, right? Marched right down the field. It was the best drive they had all year. Mm-hmm. They had 3rd and goal at the 6-yard line. Until that point, they'd been nearly perfect on that drive. I don't think he threw one incompletion until that point. Passes were crisp. Guys were open. They were bullying them on the run. They decided to run on 3rd and goal at the 6. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're going to run, they must be going for it on 4th down. But he didn't. They got 3 yards.
They get on so it was 4th
they got a
and
field
3.
goal. Yeah, and then they kicked the field goal.
Yeah.
They couldn't move the ball the rest of the day.
What happened, though? Why?
The offensive line was awful. Burrow can't move. And now I think what's happening is he's overcompensating, right? He's trying too hard. He's forcing things.
Hero ball.
Jamar Chase has got a bad attitude right now. I don't like that.
Yeah, he said he's open every play.
Yeah, I don't want to hear from him on that. That's nonsense. T. Higgins is hurt. He's going to be out for a while. But the bottom line, listen, Joe Burrow's injury is a factor, no doubt. But you're on the field, that's it.
No excuses.
You got to perform.
Yeah, you got to play.
But I wouldn't play him right now because,
Who's their backup?
Nobody any good.
They went and got
a rookie, not a rookie, but he's never played. Jake Browning.
They went and got AJ.
They signed AJ McCarron,
I just the injury, and I'm not being negative. I done had 17 surgeries, folks. I know what it's like to tell yourself, "Oh, I can go do that," but you can't. Like, your body just doesn't. People try to get mad at Deshaun Watson. Like, he should have told his team. He let him down. He was, he could have told him on Wednesday. Listen, he had every.
No, the team should have told him.
Right. Like, after you couldn't have thrown and we didn't see nothing,
you're out.
You should have had a contingency plan ready to go.
Yeah.
I just don't want the thing to linger because I understand how it goes with hits. Like, you can't avoid hits. Like, you just can't do it, especially you got the ball all the time.
Well, you also have to consider, too, that it might change the way Deshaun Watson plays football moving forward.
Just like I talked about Burrow, same thing could happen. We'll have to see. By the way, there's only 4 teams in the AFC right now over 500.
No, listen, how many teams are undefeated? Philly?
That's it. And San
Philly,
Fran.
Yeah, I think it's just Philly.
No, San Fran.
San Fran.
And the only undefeated winless teams are the Bears and the Panthers.
So 2-2.
In the AFC, the only teams over 500, you got the Bills, the Dolphins, the Ravens, and the Chiefs. They're 3-1. Everybody else is 2-2 or 1-3.
Parity.
It's crazy. Parity.
Right now, again, long way to go in the season.
Let's go to Jason Lloyd was supposed to be here.
Yeah.
He can't be. We want to do the piece now, or you have a read?
I got to read, then we'll toss to the piece here. Just a reminder, Jason's not here because he's at Cavs Media Day, which is where we are going later this afternoon. And Jason told me that he's wearing his bird dogs at Media Day because they are not just athletically fashionable, they are casually fashionable
as well. Is he really wearing his bird dogs?
You gotta tune into the show to find out. You got to tune in at 2 o'clock when Jason joins us on the live stream. He did get a pair of bird dogs. He does love them just like I do, just like Earl does, just like Anthony does. If you need a pair of comfortable casual clothes, check out birddogs.com. Jason recorded this outside the locker room last night. He spoke with players in the locker room. He's going to fill us in on what he said. I'm not sure how he sent the video back, but it's a little fuzzy. So I'm just telling you guys. The content is great. The visual, not. But honestly, Jason's not the best-looking dude in the world, so it may be doing us a favor by putting a little blur on it. I told that to Jason last night. He said I could say that on the air.
All right.
Jason, don't worry, still love you, but this looks terrible. But the content and the information is A1. Here's Jason Lloyd outside the locker room following last night's loss.
Hey guys, it's Jason in the press box following the 28-3 loss to the Ravens. Really not a lot of good things to say about this one. I was talking to a couple guys in the locker room. One thing I found interesting, I kind of assumed it was gamesmanship, and these guys knew all week that Deshaun wasn't going to play, and they were just trying to sort of keep the drapes closed on the Ravens. And talking to the offensive players, they really thought he was going to play. They said he kept telling them all week he was going to play, and DTR took all of the passing reps, and Deshaun took all the run reps in practice this week, so they sort of divided the reps. And as a result, the Browns tried to get 2 quarterbacks ready, and they didn't have either one of them ready. And, DTR, obviously, the game was just too fast for him. The speed of the Ravens defense, the speed of the game, processing things. He was overwhelmed, made a lot of mistakes, threw into terrible coverages, made bad decisions with the football. What do you expect from a fifth round rookie quarterback in week 4 of the season? The real, criticism I think you can have is of the play calling. And normally I'm not play calling guy, in a loss, but this time I think it's fair to ask why they didn't run the ball more. And really, the problem might be that they don't have a feature back. And I talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago, that they have until the bye week to see what Jerome Ford can do. And if not, you need to go make a move. I think they have the answer. Ford's averaging, if you take out the long run against the Steelers, that 69-yard run, he's averaging about 2.3 yards per carry this year. He just doesn't have the same explosion, obviously. It's not fair to compare him to Nick Chubb. Nick's one of the best around, period. But, that between the tackles guy who can turn a 2-yard gain into a 4-yard gain, a 3-yard gain into a 6-yard gain, a TFL into a yard or 2 gain, he's just not that guy. So I don't know what they're going to do, but, they got 2 weeks now to figure this out before the 49ers come with, arguably the best defense in the league. Deshaun should be back for that game, I would imagine. The guys I was talking to today felt like it's no doubt he'll be back with 2 weeks of rest. Bigger concern for me is this run game and where you go with it going forward. The NFL has done a really nice job of trying to devalue running backs, but the Browns are showing you how important they still can be. This season's going to go as Deshaun takes it. Right, like we've said that all year, and that's still true. but you got to have some sort of threat behind you carrying the ball, and you got to trust them to move the ball. And I thought the Browns gave up on the running game a little bit too early. They fell behind in the second half. Yes, you couldn't run it, at one point, but there were other opportunities where you could take a little bit of the pressure off DTR, and they really didn't do that. I think there's a lot of frustration over how the game went, offensive play calling, how it went, and you kind of crumple this one up, burn it, and throw it away. You go into the bye at 2-2. Certainly you feel like you could be 3-1 at the bye, but still this division's wide open. The Bengals are a wreck. The Steelers might be without their quarterback now. So it's all right there in front of them still, but a really big game looming with the 49ers in a couple weeks. And I will see you guys when I'm back in studio on Friday on UCSS. Thanks.
All right, good job, Jay. Yeah, it's just out of focus, or just the bandwidth wasn't there.
Yeah, I have no idea, but the point about not having a secondary plan necessarily in place because Watson was taking the running snaps, and then his issues, which he brought up 2 weeks ago about the running game, I do think are even more
It's such a tricky
now.
spot. By the way, I don't agree with Jason that we know for sure yet. I don't think it's enough of a sample size. However,
no, for sure about
Jerome Ford. I think it's unfair. At this point.
But it's clear where the arrow's pointing.
I know, but it's 2 games. I mean, it's just you don't know. But in terms of trading for Jonathan Taylor, I guess I got to know what's happening with Watson.
Yeah, you definitely don't make that move if you're looking at 5 games without Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
no, you're sitting pat.
Right.
You're not doing anything.
Right.
And I think his best line in the whole thing was the Browns tried getting 2 quarterbacks ready, and what happened was they had nobody ready.
And that's
imagine how uncomfortable DTR had to feel handing the ball off. He didn't do it all week with these guys.
Nobody does that.
No
other coach says, let's split up the run and the pass reps. So so you're only comfortable with the run plays, and then
Does Watson get some blame?
Because Watson couldn't throw the ball.
Does Watson get some blame
for what?
For saying he was going to play the whole time?
I'll tell you why he doesn't. Because this organization within the last couple of years went through an identical situation, and they let the player drive the bus.
Yep.
And the player drove the bus over the cliff.
Yep.
And Myles Garrett was on that bus, and Nick Chubb was on that bus, and all of the coaches were on that bus, and they let the player decide.
I think that. Don't you think that's the case with most quarterbacks?
Bull, I do.
Yeah.
But most injuries, if it was an ankle, a knee, a left shoulder, it's his motor. It's his motor.
That's his moneymaker.
And when when he tried to throw one ball on Friday and left the field and came immediately over to the trainer,
that was it.
How did Stefanski then say, okay, we want you to take all the handoff reps now?
Yeah, that doesn't make any
sense. I think we're almost looking at a situation where they're making the same mistake twice. They let Baker Mayfield.
Well, but they didn't, though, in the end. They didn't let him play.
You're right. And I would love to know how that conversation went. About. It looked like there was video of that moment because you could see somebody patted him on the shoulder and said something to him, and he kind of realized that was it.
When you go, when you go see, I just throw it back out, 17 surgeries. When you do something, move, and they be like, "Oh, you go and grab the trainer."
That's it.
That's it.
But I will say this.
That's it. At least for that week.
And you'll understand this too. There's also something called game day adrenaline.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've tried to throw a baseball 24 hours before I was scheduled to pitch, and I'm like, oh, this isn't going to happen.
This ain't going to happen.
But I'm not going to tell anybody yet. I'm going to get to the park, have a bullpen, and see what happens. And all of a sudden, you got that game day adrenaline going, and you're like, okay, I got a different arm slot here. Maybe I can't throw fastballs, but I can trick it up.
And the NFL has good drugs, too.
Yes,
they do. They have much better drugs than I ever had.
That's right.
So I imagine they gave him the game day shot and said, let's go. Now, here's what they should, in my view. Hindsight's always perfect vision. I would have, on Friday, when he threw the one pass, said, okay, Deshaun, you're out. DTR, you're our guy. You're going to take all the reps today. Then you pull Deshaun aside and say, listen, I got to prepare this kid as if he's the starter. So for the sake of this conversation, he's the starter. You're going to show up Sunday to the stadium. We're going to give you a shot at 9 a.m. We're going to have you go out, and if you throw free of pain, you're my guy.
Yeah. They should have done that. That's fair.
Hey, man, you sound like you did this before.
I agree with you. I think it's a good. I think you're on.
I mean,
point
we've all
there.
been part of these conversations.
No, that's right.
Hey, that's what you told Corey when he was getting ready to jump?
Absolutely.
Jumper's knee.
No, you're right. That's a very fair criticism of Stefanski. Deshaun Watson doesn't need those handoff reps.
No, what did that do? It took the handoff reps away from your starter.
The guy who needs those
No wonder
reps.
they threw the ball.
Now, by the way,
Yeah. Well, he didn't do any handoff reps on Friday.
it's
So
funny because we never criticize Alex Van Pelt because Stefanski calls the plays. But ultimately, the offensive coordinator, which is Van Pelt, is doing a lot of work in prep during the week.
I can't give him any blame.
Oh, I can give him
credit.
some blame.
I can't. He's absolved.
He's a figurehead.
That's
not
it's
true.
the Eric Bieniemy rule.
That's
it's
not
the Eric
true.
Bieniemy rule. Eric Bieniemy does not get credit for winning because
Andy
we know
Reid was the guy.
Andy Reid's the guy. Everybody, that big sheet he got right here, like this, that is all Stefanski. Right? You can't give him no blame for that.
Yeah, I don't blame Alex
just
Van
because
Pelt.
a guy's calling plays doesn't mean the offensive coordinator's doing nothing all week.
What is he going to do? Tell him no?
No, but the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's not overriding him on play calls.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. But the offensive coordinator, part of his job is to get players ready to play.
Which, according to Stefanski, is a group effort between the two.
Right, and the whole group should be criticized.
But here's the thing. I can't blame Van Pelt for the car being involved in an accident when he's in the passenger seat and doesn't have his hands on the wheel.
He didn't drive.
I just can't. I can't.
You can't blame him for the play calling.
Right, I can't.
He can be blamed partly for guys not being prepared to play.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Who do you think made the decision to split the reps? Was that a Stefanski call?
That was Stefanski.
Okay.
But still, the guy's not just standing there collecting a paycheck doing nothing.
He's not.
The whole
Bill.
offensive staff should be
But
criticized.
here's the problem when you have a head coach who's that involved in either side of the ball.
Which is the case on almost every team.
It is,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
I don't care about 31 teams.
I hear
I'm
you.
talking about the Browns.
But when you bring it up as if it's unique.
No, I'm not.
It's not.
What
Yeah.
I'm saying is, in the case of Andy Reid,
Yeah.
it works, so it works.
Right.
In the case of Kevin Stefanski, it's been mid.
It
He's
has
got
been.
a 500 record, and our offense has never been what anyone would call dynamic. So because of that, and because he is the play caller, and he insists on doing that, I have a hard time pointing fingers of blame at Alex Van Pelt.
Well, which is what we never do.
He's like collateral damage here.
I think the whole offensive staff deserves some blame.
Well, in truth, it's always, I said this at the top, it's always a group effort.
Yeah.
But we're going to point arrows at the guy that we think is
That's it.
most to blame. Who has
And I
more to
agree
do with the offense?
that he is the most to blame
It's
on
him.
the offense.
And
But-
so Alex Van Pelt, for me, is an innocent bystander, and he's collateral damage.
I don't see it that way, but
I know.
obviously I agree he's the most to blame.
Gee, how do you see it?
Zip zero. He has no say so, nothing.
No shit. He's
None.
not a factor on the offense at all during the week?
None. Zero.
What are you talking about? What is he doing during the week?
Exactly what
Twiddling his thumbs?
what Kevin Stefanski tell him to do. He's an employee. He's, hey, go over there and we're going to run this play. This is how I would like it blocked. And this is the audible off that. And then
I can't give him smoke.
And then,
because of that.
and then think about this. Even if he is implementing plays, right? 90% of it, yes, we get it. We want you to run a play like this. But most of what the magic happens is where you call that play and at what point in
fair.
time during the game.
That's true.
And if you don't have
he's a bystander.
And for that, he is a bystander. You're
You're just sitting there like, huh?
And Bull,
that's fair.
To your point about the offensive coordinators in the league calling plays,
Yeah.
and what percentage of them we had. Somebody looked it up. I don't know where.
We argued about this last year,
and it turned out that like 15 of them call their own plays, but 17 of them do not.
Right.
So
on
it's
offense,
not, I don't think,
no. That's just on offense.
That's
a lot
on
of the
offense.
Sure.
But there are defensive head coaches who call defense.
There are plenty of defensive head
Yeah.
coaches in the league. Mike Tomlin's a defensive. He's got a defensive coordinator.
Saleh is a defensive
But I
coordinator.
think at the end of it, for me,
Yeah.
if you're Andy Reid and your track record is there's nobody else better calling plays, so you're going to call plays.
Right.
But in the case of Kevin Stefanski, who had 1 year as a play caller in Minnesota before getting the head coaching job, I haven't seen that period of his career where he's been an elite play caller. So, if Shanahan wants to call the plays, I'm fine with that, bro. You've done your body of work is pretty damn good.
Right, but it takes time to get there to some degree.
Well, but now we're in year 5 of him as a play caller.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to see something by now. It's like the David Njoku effect.
I mean, in fairness, the offense was pretty good last year considering they had Jacoby Brissett at quarterback.
I can't call them pretty good. They were adequate. They were adequate.
Adequate with a guy who most people thought was not a starting quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and he's done his best work with quarterbacks that are kind of backups. Baker was, now aside from this year, Baker's been great, but Baker was, what was he looked at outside of the 2020 season?
I reached out to a college offensive coordinator, and he coaches down. It wasn't one of my Paul Johnson. He used to be a coordinator. Now he's a head coach down in West Virginia. He says he watches the games like he's a Browns fan, and he said if you watch the Browns, they have no shotgun run plays. And I said, hold on, shut up. He said, no, go back and watch. Other teams like, the Ravens will have pistol formations, or they'll have formations where they hand the ball and they get successful yards out of shotgun. When the Cleveland Browns are in shotgun, it's a telltale sign that it's going to be a pass. They don't have any dynamic plays in terms of running out of shotgun.
It's kind of like Ohio State never running under center in the old days.
That is such a huge thing. And I thought about it, and when I looked, I said, man, this offense, I'm looking for the newness. We heard about just wait till you see this offense. This offense is going to knock your socks off. All I've seen is Elijah Moore in the backfield running some reverses. I haven't seen anything dynamic like that.
Again, to G's point real quick, Bull,
yeah.
They hired Bill Musgrave this offseason as an offensive analyst who comes from the college ranks where he was known for his shotgun running game, which makes it even more surprising that through 4 games so far this season, we have not seen any new added wrinkles to that facet of the offense.
Again, though, we had none of these complaints before this week, and now we're complaining after a rookie starts.
Just because you didn't have no complaints about it don't mean it wasn't there. Just because you just found out
winning hides warts.
If you find out today you had cancer, guess what? Like, it don't mean it happened today. It happened. It could have happened 3 years ago. The problem is you have it now and you know about it. That's the same way about offense. And watch the film.
We got breaking news real quick. Hold on. Mary Kay just tweeted, and I quote.
Sure, it's the real Mary Kay. There's been a lot of fake stuff out there lately.
No, this is the real Mary Kay. This is the real Mary Kay. Go to her last tweet.
And I quote,
I quote, Kevin Stefanski said Deshaun Watson was cleared to play and that it was his call. He said Watson knows his body best and felt he couldn't
Watson made the call.
So Watson ended up making the
call.
Didn't
it look like in that conversation he was being told he wasn't going to play?
After telling his teammates all week he was going to play.
Wow. That changes things.
And here's the tweet in case you guys, just so you know I'm not making it up. Here's the tweet from Mary Kay.
Making it up?
Listen, you never know what people can interpret now, but this is the exact tweet from Mary Kay 1 second ago. She just tweeted that out.
Why are there no quotes on that? Stefanski usually talks about this time now.
He's talking right now.
Yeah.
So she must have said it to the group.
We'd
love to play that soundbite for you, but there are restrictions against free press here on the internet. Sorry.
It's the reason.
Not sorry.
It's the reason we had the Boston Tea Party. No,
I thought a free press was a free press.
Yeah, right.
That changes. I mean,
Here's a quote. He knows his body. He played through pain before. It was not about pain tolerance. Says Watson felt he couldn't have his full effect with injury.
Well, if that's the case, I respect that. I respect that he, didn't pull a Baker, who clearly wasn't his best, but told everyone he was.
He just kept it. Here's the thing. When you say that, what scares me about that is they say there's no structural damage, right? But when you say it wasn't about the pain tolerance, then I start thinking about, is it the overall mechanics of the arm and why you can't throw the ball? It's almost like a pitcher losing velocity. When a pitcher starts losing velocity, you start to look around and say, well, hold on, is it your lat messed up? Is your bicep or tricep? And they usually just shut them down. For me, the scary part is if Deshaun says it don't really hurt unless you hit it.
They were okay with letting him go.
Yeah, it don't really hurt unless you hit it or whatever, but I just I can't throw the ball back 10 yards. Had he played,
he would have lasted a quarter.
Yeah, for 2 plays.
The way the Ravens were getting pressure and hitting DTR, I mean, it wouldn't have lasted long.
Let me give you a little more. Stefanski on Deshaun Watson's injured shoulder, quote, he's going to use this week to rest and continue to get treatment. I feel like medically we're all on the same page. Also, other injury updates. Ethan Pochich, remember he left with an injury.
Yes, knee, I think.
Day-to-day, chest and knee.
Oh, wow. What about Miles' ankle? I was very concerned
He's
about
expected
that.
to play. He said today.
For Miles,
Yeah,
he
he's
says
gonna play.
day-to-day, but they feel good about him. Going back to Pochich for a minute.
The bye week is perfect time.
He says if there was a game this week, he likely wouldn't make it.
Pochich.
Would not make it if there was a game this week.
Now, Harris, he didn't stand out good or bad to me yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't. I would have to go back and watch it. I saw him in a couple plays. Poachers came back in the game.
Yeah. I think in reality, the two probably are pretty close in skill sets. Harris was going to start.
Yeah, he was a starter.
And then they signed Pochich as a free agent, and next thing you know, Harris is hurt. Or that's why they signed Pochich, and he played great.
Shout out to Roquan Smith, man. You did exactly what you said you was
did.
going to do. You hurt a bunch of people in our team in front of
their wives,
in front of
and
their
kids.
families, right? I mean,
He's a special player, by the way.
I mean, y'all put it. I looked at it. I was like, bro, just run the ball. Game over. Stop dropping DTR back there. They would. Hey, by the
wait
way,
a second. I was told trash talking led to wins for the other team.
You were?
I was told that.
Unless you got a rookie quarterback.
That's
starting.
what Earl told me. Earl told me that.
Unless you got a rookie quarterback, all bets are off. And by the way, Jadeveon Clowney, he played well too. Clowney played very well. He didn't get a sack. I think he got 1 or 2 sacks.
He had some pressures though.
But he had a lot of pressure.
He was in
the backfield.
building.
So I'm not no hater. I thought they played really well. But to me,
it wouldn't surprise me if Deshaun's healthy when we play them in 5 weeks, whenever it is, 6 weeks, that we go in Baltimore and beat them.
No, I think it's a different team.
The
with
defense
Deshaun.
will have a clean slate. You can't continue to give a team a short field. The Browns have done that in their 2 losses, and that's one of the. I mean, there were other reasons yesterday, but you cannot give the team a short field.
Yeah, I think the Browns moving forward, they need to figure a few things out. First of all, it's the Watson situation. Make sure he's good. Second thing, I think Jason brings up a valid point. If this team is built for running the football, I'd be very alarmed if you have not run the football very well. Generally speaking, even when Derrick Henry went out, the Titans still ran the football, and they still put numbers up because that's what they do. Wisconsin always has running backs. They always got linemen. They're going to run the same thing. For me, I think they do need to implement the run a little more. They do need to keep people honest. I think this isn't a team that we can drop back 40 times to throw. And they need to make an adjustment to say, okay.
Gee, they went out and got Deshaun Watson because he was one of the quarterbacks that's supposed to be able to drop back and throw 40 times and win.
But you got to pick the pieces to do that.
No, but I think you're just saying specifically yesterday he wasn't there.
Well, yesterday,
and you're built to run, so
yeah.
you should be able to run with your backups.
Nobody was saying they were built to run before the season.
Oh,
nobody
no.
was
I don't
saying
think that's true.
Nobody was saying that they didn't have the pieces before the season. We all said there was no more excuses for Watson.
But I think everybody has generally resigned themselves to the fact that this team's best player on offense was the running back.
Yeah, like
that's what it is.
What I'm saying is,
and the line in particular was built to block for a running back.
It's not
so
like
do it.
I'm saying that they're like trash and the world is over. What I'm saying for is, if you're lining up and you want to throw it 40 times a game, you need to have not only 1 but 2 dynamic receivers and guys that are built to pass rush for all those times. They don't have that right now.
How many teams have 2 dynamic receivers?
Miami.
I think the Cincinnati Bengals have them.
Yeah, Miami.
I think Miami has them.
If we're saying the Bengals do, then the Browns have 1.
I think the Bills do.
Bills don't. Who's their second receiver?
When your number 1 is that good,
then
that helps a lot.
The argument.
Well, no, it helps a lot.
You just said they have to have multiple dynamic players. They don't.
I like Gabriel better.
He's just a guy.
He's better than DPJ.
Oh, come on.
Here's my thing, and we don't want to get into how good people are or based on other.
Yeah.
He's a 6th-round pick.
The Chiefs have 1 guy.
Once again.
But again, the best at that position.
We talk about he's the best.
I get it, but your argument was you got to have multiple guys, and the Bills and the Chiefs, the 2 best teams in the AFC, don't.
But here's another thing.
Jekyll pulled out last night.
You got to also look at it this way: who's calling the plays as well? If you have an A plus,
the Bills don't have an A+ play caller.
McVay, when you look at McVay, and he pulls a little Puka Nacua, and
what does McVay have to do with it?
What I'm saying is, when you have an A+ play caller,
but the Bills don't have an A+ play caller, and they only have 1 star guy.
If you have an A+ play caller, you have more room for error. And if you want to say he's not an A-plus play caller.
And they have an elite quarterback, too.
The Bill, I like the Bills.
But that's what the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson.
But
to be an elite quarterback.
Josh has been elite with the Bills.
Agreed.
Okay.
And if Deshaun Watson's not elite, then none of this other stuff matters.
So
right.
So
doesn't.
What I'm saying is, I like the Bills' offense better than I like the Browns' offense. That's what I'm saying.
Before the season, you were talking about 5,000 yards for Watson. Now you're saying, well, we can't drop back 40 times. What is it?
Well, here's the thing.
He should be able to throw for 5,000 yards.
I also factored in the fact that you have Nick Chubb and you're going to be running the ball too, and you're not going to have people pass rushing every single time.
It's the NFL. Guys get hurt. This happens. You got to adjust.
So there you go. That's what I've been. There it is. You gotta adjust.
So they gotta throw the ball.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You don't adjust from
changing
having
your biggest weapon.
That is what you are.
Your biggest weapon's Deshaun Watson.
You don't.
But it used to be Nick Chubb.
You don't.
No, it was still Watson. He just wasn't playing up to that level.
You don't adjust by throwing the football more.
Yes, you do.
So
you don't have as good a running game. You got to throw the ball more. You have supposedly a franchise quarterback. He's got to put them on his back.
If you want to, let me ask you this question, just from a schematic point. If you want to slow down a rush, what are some things you can do?
Load the box.
If I'm an offensive coordinator and I want to slow their pass rush down, there's two things you can do. You can keep more people in to block them, which means there's less people in the route. Mm-hmm. Or you can run the football and then play action so everybody's not in your face. Okay. So my thing is, if you don't have the running game, right, you lose your back. The worst thing that you can do is be one-dimensional and throw the ball every play because now
the Chiefs have been mostly one-dimensional and they won the Super Bowl. The Bengals were one-dimensional and went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago. So, there's plenty of examples. If the quarterback is the guy that you said was going to throw for 5,000 yards and we're going to have 3,000-yard receivers and all, you said all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I was, not as far as you, but I thought the offense would be really good. Then he's got to do it. This is on Watson.
Well, you can't.
This is on Watson.
No.
He's got to win for this team.
Listen, of course Deshaun Watson has to win. But when you're talking about football 101, what you see is what happens when you get one-dimensional.
No. You see what happens when you have a quarterback that can't play.
Okay,
that's what happens.
So
it wasn't about being one-dimensional.
So hold on. When we was in Pittsburgh, and Deshaun Watson was playing,
he didn't play well.
And they got one-dimensional after Nick Chubb went out of the game. What happened? They
didn't get one-dimensional. He had a 70-yard touchdown run in that game, Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford, when you listen.
They lost that game for one reason, because Watson fumbled on that play. Otherwise, they win.
Deshaun Watson.
They didn't lose because they were one-dimensional.
Here's what I'm saying. And guess what? What was he doing when they got off that fumble?
So what, he should never throw the ball? He's your superstar quarterback.
Let me see if I can help you out. I think I know what you're trying to say. The team, even though we had this elite quarterback who hasn't been elite, the offense was built to run the ball with an elite running back. That's what this team has been.
Okay, but they got Deshaun Watson last year, and they've changed that by addressing.
So the problem is
the wide receiver group.
Your quarterback hasn't been elite here. Your run game has been. So when the piece goes out of the run game, all these other pieces were here and have been built to be a run team.
What does that even mean? What, the offensive lineman can't pass block?
What G has said is
there are plenty of people,
they're better run blockers than pass blockers.
There are people in their job that can only do one thing very well, and they're kind of shaky.
I get
they
it.
are better at one thing than the other.
But outside of Wyatt Teller last year, where he was significantly better as a run blocker than a pass blocker, and in general he's a better run blocker than a pass blocker, there's not been a significant difference in the rest of these guys between pass and run.
That's not true.
Who else?
Jack Conklin.
Jack Conklin hasn't played for 2 years.
He has. Listen, that's why I told him.
Team, he was a part of it.
He was part of Jack Conklin.
I never heard you guys once in the last 2 years say, "Well, this offensive line, I mean, we can't." If they were so built for running, why did we think they're going to throw for 5,000 yards?
Because when you run the ball, Bull,
it opens the pass.
It opens the pass.
Well, why do other teams not have to do that?
You keep going
I don't
to other
think
teams.
you say other teams. Yesterday, Pacheco was the reason Kansas City won the game.
That's one game, Jay. You can't point to one game.
You're making it seem like they've never had running backs have great performances.
For the most part, they haven't.
When Kareem Hunt was there,
that was 5 years ago.
Okay, so I'm giving you a recent example.
They just won the Super Bowl last year, and they had no running game.
You just said Christian McCaffrey was playing like he's out of his mind, right?
He is.
And guess what? They got a younger guy quarterback that doesn't have any experience, and they want to keep him light.
You're making it seem like we can't put it on Watson. The great quarterbacks haven't put on them. That's it.
You gotta, bull. This is the.
What do you want to do? You want to trade for more guys?
No,
Hold on.
This is the fantasy football effect of the game.
No, it's not.
No.
You were the one who said Watson should throw for 5,000 yards.
And I told you why I said that. I told you why I said that. Because it's complimentary, bull. Hey, listen, how many quarterbacks have dropped back? Look at the Buffalo Bills. They had Thurman Thomas, but they wanted to drop back with Jim Kelly and throw the ball 100 times. L's. You look at Dan Marino.
They went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row.
And they did not win. Why?
Oh, my God. That's why they lost?
Dan Marino.
They went to 4 straight Super Bowls.
Dan Marino.
The Dolphins.
The greatest of all time.
That was a different era, G. There's no comparison.
Bull, you cannot.
You're giving examples from 40 years ago. I gave you the last 2 years. The Chiefs couldn't run. They weren't a running team. They won 2 Super Bowls.
You're talking about.
They also had the best quarterback and the best tight end in the game.
Okay. But it wasn't because they're running. You guys keep pointing to running.
They still have to run the ball.
Didn't you think Deshaun Watson's as good as any quarterback in the league?
Sure.
Okay, so that shouldn't matter.
He can't do it alone.
Well,
why do you
think
do it
that? Alone?
Why do you think that?
He had Nick Chubb. He did nothing with Nick Chubb.
No.
That was true?
Watch.
That's a fact.
He had Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And the organization didn't give Nick Chubb the football.
Oh, that's ridiculous. He was 3rd in the league in touches last year, in carries. He was 3rd, 2nd, or 3rd.
Should have been first. By a lot.
You can't say he didn't give him the ball. That doesn't make any sense.
No one said he didn't give him.
He just literally said that.
No, he didn't give him the ball.
He literally said that. He just said they didn't give him the ball.
They don't give him the ball enough.
That's not what he said.
Listen,
you know what he meant.
How many times?
That's ridiculous.
And guess what? What we're seeing right now is this.
Over his entire career, he's averaged 2nd in the league in touches, carries per game.
What we're seeing right now, that Nick Chubb is not out. He's out of the game. He made everybody else look good.
They played their best offensive game without him last week. Fact.
Here's another fact.
Is that a fact? Yes or no? Is that a fact?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's another fact.
They've had one good offensive performance in 4 games. Is that a fact?
Yes.
That is
all right, dude. But Nick Chubb was there for 2 of those games.
I think your overall point is if you're one-dimensional, you're halfway to defeat.
Okay. The Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls being one-dimensional.
They also have the best quarterback in the game.
Okay.
And the best tight end in the game.
They qualify that.
And the
Bengals went to the Super Bowl one-dimensional. The Rams won a Super Bowl one-dimensional. The Rams won a Super Bowl one-dimensional. The last 3 Super Bowls, the Buccaneers won a Super Bowl one-dimensional.
Really?
The Rams won the Super Bowl one-dimensional.
No.
Yes.
Listen, go back and watch the playoff. Guess who was
And you're making it seem like they had 0 running.
Leonard Fournette.
Oh, the Browns have 0 running game?
Leonard Fournette was dominant down the stretch.
They do?
Yeah, looks like it.
It's 2 games.
They're averaging 2 yards a carry.
They're not averaging 2 yards a carry.
What was Jason's
Jason said if you take out the 70-yard run, we can take out everybody's 70. Let's start taking out 70-yard runs.
Well, we don't have a lot of 10-yard runs in there.
Well, Jay, it's been 2 games.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what you want to do. They won the game, the first game. This game they had DTR playing. So now we're going to say they don't run the ball and have no running game because they couldn't run again with DTR?
You had 14 rushes. 14.
Yeah.
That's not enough rushes with a rookie quarterback.
Were they supposed to run in the second half?
Yes, they were.
Down 21 points.
21
When it was 21-3 early in the 3rd quarter, I still thought there's plenty of time. Don't panic. You've got a defense that you can rely on. Get a touchdown.
Again, you're changing the subject. Now you're talking about play calling again instead of not having a running back. So
all of that is kind of intertwined.
You keep changing the argument.
No.
I keep told you that the last 3 teams have won a Super Bowl as overwhelming passing.
With 0 running game.
Passing. I didn't say 0.
You did.
Overwhelming passing.
Leonard Fournette played well.
Overwhelming. Leonard Fournette. Come on, the guy's out of football. He's a guy.
It's 3 years ago.
He's a guy.
I mean, he's 3 years ago.
And he was a guy. Well. He was a guy then. When's the last great running back to win a Super Bowl? Give me one.
Oh, my goodness.
Christian McCaffrey's going to win one this
year. Give me one.
Right, Christian McCaffrey. You talk about crowd. Christian McCaffrey's one of the best.
And by the way, that is the strength of their game.
That's it. There's no answer.
No, I said
give me the last great running back.
Christian McCaffrey's going to win one this year.
Give me the last great running back that won a Super Bowl.
It's been a long time.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a long time.
Hey, I got to get some super chats.
Yeah, it can't be done, by the way.
We have a bunch of super chats. If you're in the chat, we appreciate you sticking around with us. Hit the like button. We're going live from Cavs Media Day in about an hour, so make sure you stick around for that 2 o'clock. The stream will launch. We've got a bunch of super chats from you guys. We appreciate everybody. We're going to run through these pretty quickly. Set Apart Laz says, today we are the Band-Aid Mafia. Hyper Frosty says,
get a t-shirt.
My grandpa and I were wondering how Wills hasn't gotten hurt yet, but every other lineman has. And then we realized it's because he puts in 0 effort.
That's true.
Vernell Jackson says Stefanski has no feel for the game. He should let AVP call the plays. This crap is like Groundhog's Day. Stefanski is the dumbest smart guy I know. Hyper Frosty has one, and this is actually, I think, a valid question. Why didn't we use Tillman more? That's DTR's guy. If he has chemistry with anyone, it's his high school teammate. And Tillman barely saw the field.
We have not seen that man. I thought we have not seen that man at all. What happened to that boy?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's been MIA.
I would really like to see AVP just, I mean, we've seen it. He's called plays here for one game. How many games has Stefanski missed?
Just that one with
the playoff game.
COVID,
the playoff win.
That's a big, to me, that's huge.
It's a pretty,
that's huge. He was at the crib, posted up, chilling at home with us. And they came out and put 40-some-odd points on the road in Pittsburgh.
Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
That's crazy.
I do think the Tillman thing is
his stubbornness, though, might cost him his job.
He should have gave it up. I just don't. His playbook to me is not. It's not my cup of tea. I like to see somebody. Either it's going to be run or pass, but I think I need to see the screws moving.
Especially when it was touted as wait until you see it.
Wait till you see this. We're waiting.
We're still waiting.
And the people that said that to me, by the way, are reputable people.
I mean, we had the industry talking. I mean,
yeah, there's some smart guys. Kenny Moss said, with this defense, I'd take Brissett. Do you think Washington would trade him for a 4th rounder?
I'd take Brissett, too.
Would a 4th rounder get Brissett, you think? Real quick,
I just can't get excited about it.
You're not trading a 4th rounder.
I can't get excited about it.
Come on now, stop it.
I mean, we've mortgaged so much of our future with.
Ridiculous.
All right, Heidelberg Dog says you need to place more blame on Barry and the front office for bad drafts, bad contracts.
They're catching fire, too.
That's what Dobbs right.
759 UXU says it doesn't matter because our head coach doesn't know how to maximize the talent we have on offense. Not a bunch of stars, but look what Baltimore did yesterday.
Yeah,
Marty Commence.
Baltimore had their starting quarterback. How do you compare that?
He didn't say starters. He said stars. I think
he said stars. Yes, yeah, stars.
Stars.
Marty Komertz, Komertz. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. It starts and ends with Stefanski's game plan. He isn't putting guys in position to succeed. New Orleans last year, he threw 40 times in negative temperatures. He threw DTR to the Wolves.
I was there that day. I couldn't feel my fingers.
Shout out to what's that dude's name? Shout him out. Thank you. We act like this is a new thing from Stefanski.
I think if there's a theme developing, and Jason, I think, drove that home for me. Jason said in his piece, I'm not a play calling guy, but the play calling was not it. Yeah. And I think in general, the fans that I heard from yesterday, most of them, that was their criticism. That was their big criticism.
That's the criticism every time the Browns lose.
That's usually the criticism when a team performs poorly on offense.
We got a bunch more. This next one shows the reason UCSS is the best. This one's from Josh Z. Jay's point about the widening gap between the ceiling and floor of quarterbacks is a great point. The performances are really good or really bad, no in between. And immediately after, 1 minute later, Kenneth Yablonowski says Jay's love for Baker's nauseating. We have no Nick Chubb, the best back in football. Our line is subpar at times. G.
Look
Bush,
at the numbers,
said,
Yablowski.
no Watson. The season
numbers
is over.
Don't lie,
That's the worst.
Yablowski.
The Browns are a disaster. The Bengals are a disaster. The Cubs choked away a playoff spot. The Guardians stink, and the friggin' Bakers played well.
I know it's your misery, but you know what? When was the last time that the Bengals, Browns, and Steelers all lost by at least 24 points on the same day?
I'm sure the Bengals and Browns have lost by
probably a lot, but the Steelers are the X factor in there.
Yeah.
Like if you're the Ravens, you're feeling pretty good.
By the way, every week we do best bets on Bet Rivers, and on Friday I said, not only is the Texans going to cover, they're going to win outright. And I guarantee you every other Bet Rivers picker will have the Steelers. I was right. They all had the Steelers. And I called that one.
We got about 15 more.
Great. We got set the NFL record most passing yards.
We got about 15 more, so I got to run through these. Right, Kenneth also said, also look at the Rams, Bills, Bengals, Ravens, Cowboys, all top-paid quarterbacks. If they go down, the season's over. The Browns are no different. M. Burns says, guys, our offensive line is the center of the issues. It's not all on Stefanski. We lost Nick Chubb, who made the bad offensive line less visible. We talked about that earlier. Mm-hmm. Edwin Young II said Stefanski is not a leader of men. Game prep, in-game adjustments has been lackadaisical his entire tenure. He has no feel for the game. 2020 was an anomaly. Broady's bottom line says, Jay, who on the Texans? That's good. James Cosby says coaches get too much. Players got to play. M. Burns said Stefanski made Jacoby look like a stud, schemed people open. Yes, he is part of the issue. He outsmarts himself a lot, but he also does get guys open. John B says, are you guys sure Stefanski's the guy? I'm tired of watching him getting outcoached by Harbaugh, Tomlin, Reed, Belichick, etc. His record against those kind of teams are embarrassing. M. Byrne says, it doesn't happen often, but I agree with Bull today. Jay Sia says, if Stefanski is fired today, who are the three options? It would be either Jim Schwartz or Bubba Ventrone, who's who they would make in the interim.
Jim Schwartz.
He's not going to fire a coach in 2 and 2.
No, he's not going to get
we
fired.
have four more real quick. Sean Anderson says, Stefanski doesn't call the best play for the situation. You don't dial up a pass on 3rd and 2. You have Ford or Hunt in the backfield. Be the head coach. Let someone else call the plays, please. Daryl, our guy Daryl, says the Denny's menu is going to get Stefanski fired. He is an Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan wannabe. It's disgusting how pass happy he is and has been his entire tenure. Love you guys.
False.
From Daryl. We love Daryl too. Brady says, just want to say, Bull held his own and was strong in there today. It was 2v1 for 2 hours. I was at the game Sunday and agreed 90% with Bull today, and that never happens. Tim Green says,
Wisen up.
can we oil up Bull and G. Bush and have them wrestle it out? Tim, no, we're not going to oil up Bull and G.
Nobody wants to see
that's a
that.
negative.
Yeah, come on,
Nobody
And
wants to see that.
Smallzy said Todd Gurley with the Rams carried them to a Super Bowl. But I don't believe they won the Super Bowl the year they had Todd Gurley.
Yeah, Todd Gurley.
They didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no,
They
he got
lost.
hurt.
Yeah,
They-
Todd Gurley was long gone by the time they won.
Well, he got hurt. I know he got hurt.
I think Cam Akers played for him.
Cam Akers was their leading rusher that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Listen, I tell you, that's why y'all watch UCSS. It's over 2,000 people. Why would you listen to anybody else? They don't argue like this. They
What I
don't-
what I love is all of the it's all across the board when you lose.
Yeah.
You know, coach, quarterback, defense, offensive line, no run game, too
GM.
pass heavy, GM. When you win, all those warts are hidden.
By the way, there was some.
Everything is okay.
I heard a caller this morning. I was listening to Ken and Lima this morning. There was a caller who blamed Kevin Stefanski for Nick Chubb getting hurt.
I saw that. That was disgusting.
That's terrible. That's horrible. What?
That's a new level.
And
of
come on,
stupidity.
and listen, it's going to start being in that grassy knoll. They're about to start with conspiracy theories on why Nick Chubb going. We'd have had a lot.
When a team loses, the quarterback or the coach and the quarterback get the bulk of the blame, and when they win, they get the bulk of the credit. And the reality of it is what I said at the beginning: you win with 53, you lose with 53. The deck was stacked against the Browns going into yesterday. They, in reality, had very little chance. In our delusional soup on Friday, we talked ourselves into maybe DTR is the second coming of Brock Purdy. We now know he is not.
Very quick bout of honesty. Everybody here in Cleveland wants the Browns to win a Super Bowl because you're diehard Browns fans. I want the Browns to win the Super Bowl for that reason. But if I'm totally honest, the number one reason I want the Browns to win the Super Bowl this year is so I can say I was right. I want to be right. I didn't pick the Browns to win the Super Bowl, but I want to be right that Kevin Stefanski is a pretty good coach and that you don't need a running back to win.
I think he's
So let's
average.
go.
I mean, his record bears that out.
I think
4
he's average,
years
too.
is it's a big log jam. It's a lot of work.
By the way, I still got that Kool-Aid up. You know why? Because we about to get that Imani Bates interview.
Oh!
McNuggets. Earl, you better do your job. You
We'll
better
see y'all
find
media
that
day.
man.
Peace.